It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley are here, and we're going to spend some time talking about this Windows 10 update thing, the little flag in your system tray, all of that, what it means, how you're going to get it, when you're going to get it. You're going to get it. Windows 10 coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Windows Weekly is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley, episode 416, recorded June 3rd, 2015. Oh, you're gonna get it. Windows Weekly is brought to you by Harry's. For guys who want a great shave experience for a fraction of what you're paying now, go to harrys.com and get $5 off your first purchase by entering the code WINDOWS when you check out. And by lynda.com, the online learning platform with over 3,000 on-demand video courses to help you strengthen your business, technology, and creative skills. For a free 10-day trial, visit lynda.com/windows. That's lynda.com/windows. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show where we cover, hey, Windows, hey, weekly. Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley are here. Mary Jo Foley with the ZDNet blog, all about Microsoft.com. She is the know-all, tell-all, be-all.
I often call her the know-it-all.
The know-it-all. The Hadoop queen. We have many names for her. Welcome, Mary Jo.
The queen of Hadoop.
The queen of Hadoop. Paul Thurrott is also here. He's at Thurrott.com. He's written many a book on Windows and Windows Phone. He's the expert in all of that. And we're here, as we are every Wednesday, around about 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1800 UTC, to talk Winders. And I guess Microsoft has blown the lid off the secret. It's a go for July 29th.
Isn't this typically kind of the quiet time of the year?
It is, which is why they're smart to release it in the middle of summer.
It is really strange.
I guess the first thing I would ask is it going to be ready for release on July 29th?
It doesn't matter, Leo. This is hell or high water.
This is the new Agile. This is Agile, right?
You're getting it. Shut up.
Release it and fix it. Break things fast and fix them fast.
Yep.
But that's a new kind of way of thinking for the state-old Microsoft. Kind of modern.
Working on, although this is probably out of order. In fact, it's certainly out of order. But the other day when they announced this, I went back and looked. Because what was it like for the previous version of Windows, right? The previous version of Windows, they announced the RTM of it on August 1st, 2012. Yeah. And then the product shipped on October 26th. Alongside new hardware and the retail boxes and all that stuff.
This is Windows 8 you're talking about.
Windows 8. So 3 years later, if you look at the delta, but we don't know when it's going to RTM, there's still, right now, there's less time until the release of Windows 10 than there was between the RTM of Windows 8 and the release of Windows 8. So whenever they do finalize it, with little air quotes, it's still going to be half or 1/3 the amount of time between that milestone and the actual release to the public. Which is, I think says a lot about how things have changed.
Yeah.
Although I remember that October date being kind of just an artificial date in a way, right? It was like they wanted to have a big launch with new hardware and have something very orchestrated. So if they don't care about doing that this time, which is what we think, right? They don't really need that.
Yes, although, by the way, it's interesting that you bring that up. I just wrote about this. I turned a story that was going to be about, here's what the new Windows 10 PCs look like, into something that was completely different, which is, frankly, there's not a lot new going on here. In other words, PCs have evolved and they're getting thinner and lighter and they have no bezels or whatever. But when you look at the new hardware stuff that Windows 10 can take advantage of, it's not really that much of a big bomb like it was for Windows 8. Yeah. Windows 8 was when we got the first actual tablets and two-in-one PCs, and PC makers were experimenting with designs, and some things worked and some things didn't. And it took, I think, those 3 years for that to kind of mature into, okay, here's the PC market as we now understand it. And then for Windows 10, it's like, well, Windows Hello, you know, it's a little easier to sign into your computer. But that stuff's really been around. I mean, people with Lenovo PCs have been able to use a camera to log into their computers already. Fingerprint scanners have been around for a long time.
True.
You know, DirectX gaming. What else is there? Continuum is just an evolution of what we already had. I mean, it's not
Cortana. Well, how about the start menu?
Well, I mean, but I'm sorry. I mean,
that's
Windows
just pure cosmetics. I mean, that's not.
No, well, no, I mean, but Windows.
I mean, and they could, by the way,
features that
if that's all you want,
themselves.
You could do that in like by pushing a button.
Okay. Right.
You know,
no, that's what I mean. In other words, these are features that would impact the hardware.
Right.
You know, in other words, why would I want to buy a new PC? Like what? Why would I wait for a Windows 10 PC? Right? Maybe it has a camera that does Windows Hello. Maybe it has a fingerprint scanner. Maybe it has a detachable screen and Continuum works. You know, none of it's actually super new.
Right.
It's just a little bit evolved, I would say, for Windows 10. And maybe that's part of the reason why.
Yeah.
It might be just to make it come out a little earlier so they can artificially make some kind of back to school season or something.
Well, we used to say this, and I still think it's true. We used to say Windows 10 is to Windows 8 what Windows 7 was to Vista, right? It's the fix. It's Microsoft fixing what they screwed up.
Well, according to Fabio Pintos on the MSDN blog, it's just Windows 1.0. They're going back.
That's it. Wait. When is this from?
This is April 15th, 2015.
Why does he say that? Because it has Windows?
I don't know. I think it's funny. I mean,
because it has a little hamburger menu.
Oh, does it? No. Yes. Windows 1.0 invented the hamburger.
Sure.
Right. Everybody was saying that. Yeah.
What? Crazy.
Back to the future.
Back to the future.
They should patent that.
You should.
There's a lot going on here. I don't know how we're going to get through all this stuff.
I know.
How much under the hood new is there? Lots?
7.
I
don't know. Like
7.
That's a good. No, that's good. Just stick with that, Paul. I like it.
No, I don't even remember anymore. But at some point, one of the big things that Microsoft started doing was that componentization stuff. Right? That's happened. That's been going on for a long time. There's more of that in Windows 10. When they talk about one Windows and the ability to run Windows 10 and all these different systems, honestly, it's just an evolution of that stuff. It's the same.
The driver model's the same?
Yep.
Have they updated? Remember, they rewrote the TCP/IP stack for Windows 7. Have they done anything like that? You know,
well, they have the whole new Windows Universal underlying model, right? And there's a Windows Universal driver model.
Right.
That's
okay, but I actually don't think those are new. I would say that those are lightly evolved, you know. I mean, they're trying to draw this distinction with Universal Apps in particular, but they're really just the latest version of what used to be called Metro Modern Apps.
Yeah, right.
But it's one Windows in the sense that you develop universally, right?
Yeah.
We've had XAML for a while.
But that is also just an evolution. You're literally not creating a single exe that runs on multiple platforms.
Right, you're not.
Oh, you're just cross-compiling.
Again, it is better than it was, right?
Right.
It's not
but so's
completely
everything,
new.
Paul. That's the nature of life. It all gets better.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not the nature of life, but it should be the nature of technology.
Yeah.
It's technology.
I think
it's like life in reverse.
You know, for us, we're feeling like there's not a lot new because it's our job to cover these things in great detail, right?
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who's on Windows 7, and there's a lot of those people who have not upgraded to Windows 8, it's going to look pretty new to you. And there's going to be a lot of new things. I mean, you're going to get a different start menu. You're going to get new capabilities with security, a lot of under the hood stuff that you didn't get with Windows 8 because you never went to Windows 8.
That's
so
fair.
for us, it doesn't look crazy new, but I think for the, however, install base, what's the install base of Windows 7?
If you think it looks new to them.
It's several hundred million people. I don't remember the
exact number. Wait till Windows XP users see it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always say that. If you haven't looked at Windows, if you've never used Windows before, it's going to look very
you've been
different.
hibernating for the past 7 years. By the way, you might have seen my Windows 95 tweets today. I'm going to write something about this tomorrow, I think now. But it is striking to me, and I've made this observation before on the podcast about newer versions of Windows, but you can go back all the way to Windows 95, and you run this thing, and it's a start button and a start menu, and it's a taskbar. And there's a tray area, and there's a browser, and there's applications and Office. And frankly, the experience is very familiar. And not just because I knew it, very well back in the day, 20 years ago, but it's somewhat striking how little has changed really in 20 years, right? I mean, there's something interesting to that. So yeah, you're right. I mean, you're right. It certainly it's a good upgrade. And if you're still running a PC from 6, 8, 9 years ago,
yeah,
that stuff that I just described as being fairly evolutionary is going to be amazing to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what we learned this week, right?
Oh,
because
yes,
we
please.
did actually learn some new things this week, and we're guessing at some new things starting this week. So we know July 29th is the date. That was rumored, but we know it for sure now. That's the day that Microsoft's going to start rolling out Windows 10 to people who have Windows 7 Service Pack 1 and Windows 8.1. They're going to start rolling it out on that day. And
the other thing, there is one more thing happening that day.
It'll be installed on new PCs that come out starting that day.
Yeah, starting that day. Supposedly there will be some.
Right. Now,
so
what
what's
we
missing?
Don't know,
what's missing from that day?
There's a lot of things missing, right?
A lot of stuff.
Because we don't. All right.
Wait, just from that day. In other words, you just said Windows 10 will be available to upgraders electronically, and on some new PCs. Right. So what won't be happening on that day? What about retail boxes?
Right. Will retail boxes be available that day? We do not believe so.
Doesn't say.
Doesn't say. Will MSDN, TechNet, DreamSpark, all those people get it starting that day? We don't know.
Volume license customers typically get it early.
Users under volume license? We don't know.
Don't know.
Yeah. So there's the only thing we know for sure is that upgrade.
There's more than that, though. What about
for a year? Right?
What about Windows 10 insiders? Right.
I think they. Well, okay. So you and I were talking about that. So here's what we do know. We know if you're in the Windows 10 Insider program, you are going to automatically get Windows 10 for free. Mm-hmm. We believe you're going to get it on July 29th because I saw Gabe All tweet the insiders will be at the start of the line. So there's this fictitious line, right?
I love that there's a line.
People are lining up.
It's like an Apple Store event.
Yeah. But you're going to get it, we think, starting the 29th.
But what about the people who haven't gotten this little icon in their tray for some reason?
Right.
When are they going to get it?
Right. So if you have not seen that icon show up in your tray, you may or may not get it starting on the 29th.
What if you really want it on the 29th, though? I mean, I'm sorry to keep interrupting. Here's another one, though.
There are these weird cases, right? Like
there are a lot of they're not even that weird. What about? Yeah. I did get the icon, and I do want it on the 29th, but I don't want to do an upgrade. I want to do a clean install. Now, they have said, after questioning, that there will be clean install capabilities. However, on July 29th, will I be able to download an ISO file and make a bootable USB media with it and clean install from there? Will that work?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Another one of those we don't know is people who are on domain joined PCs who don't see the icon, because the way it works is if you're on a domain joined PC, you're not supposed to see that icon. Your admin's supposed to make the choice for you when you're going to get Windows 10. So can you get it that day if you don't see it that way?
What about businesses that use Windows Intune to loosely manage an environment, and they don't have a domain, but they do manage those PCs? Do those PCs see the icon, and will they get it on July 29th? And what if that business doesn't want them to get it? Is there a policy in place where they can prevent that download?
Yeah.
Huh. There's all kinds of questions. We could do this for an hour. It is amazing to me how many things they left hanging. You know, I think what they wanted was for everyone just to kind of high five them as they ran by. Right. But what they forgot was everybody. They just they've addressed a portion, and it's a big portion. It's an important portion of it. But there's so many things. They have a FAQ, like a Q&A page that answers some questions, but none of the ones that we just raised.
Yeah. Can I ask some questions?
Please do.
Sure. We won't know the answers, but go ahead.
We'll just,
Yeah. So
Can you confirm or deny?
Most people who are eligible for the Windows 10 upgrade got that little weird white Windows icon in their
most? I don't know. Most.
don't
know.
I mean,
it was most.
Seems like
Some
everybody,
number.
but I don't know. You would, anyway, some large number. I got it. You got it.
Yeah.
Everybody
I
I know
today.
got it. If you click it, it's kind of odd. You get the chance to say, yes, I would like it. It's pretty clear that you can, in fact, they even say, change your mind. So it's not forcing that.
Right.
It will stay in your system tray.
Yes, it will.
Which is odd.
Yes,
but
it
I guess
is.
that's to remind you. And you can remove it, but you have to do it by removing the program that's running it. My guess, but I wonder if you know, is that by removing the program, you're also removing the automatic downloader that is going to check the clock and download.
So, no, you're not.
Okay. That's one question, and you had the answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. The automatic downloader.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just
Actually,
saying, if you want to get rid of the system tray icon,
There is a way.
you can
Actually,
add
that's not
remove-
clear.
No,
what I
there's
can
an
tell
easy-
you.
I can tell you how.
Okay.
Go to customize in your system tray.
Oh, yeah. You could do it that way.
Well, that's just hiding
remove
it.
the icon.
Yeah.
So I guess
know,
what he's
but if
saying,
you
in
don't
other
wanna
words, if
see-
And I just dragged it into the extra icons one.
yeah,
so I don't see
right.
it.
So you just
Yeah.
don't see it.
But that's still running. And it's still presumably using memory and CPU cycles. I don't know what what's it doing. If I can uninstall it, but if I do, what happens to my invitation?
Right. My understanding is that your reservation doesn't go away, that your computer has already been marked as if for the apocalypse or something,
Wow.
as being part of the reservation system. I honestly believe that, well, I think part of this is a PR thing where they want to show some number. A number of people have been so excited to get Windows 10 that X number of million people have signed up to reserve Windows 10, which is a hilarious term because obviously Windows 10 is a restaurant with a limited number of tables. And if you want to eat on July 29th, you got to, get in there an open table or whatever. That's got to be the thing. But I don't think that if you accept this and then you go and uninstall that Windows update, you're still in. So if you were to somehow download this update again, which by the way you would if you didn't then first go to Windows Update and hide it from Windows Update, you would just be in automatically. I don't think you'd have to accept it anymore.
Yep. And we should
That's
say
my
what does the reserve thing do for you? So we're joking like it does nothing, but there is one thing it does do. It's going to put the bits on your system before July 29th.
Yeah.
And then on July 29th, they'll turn on. So this is meant to make it so you'll get them really fast. You won't have to sit there and wait.
Yeah. By the way,
servers
if
download
you do want it that day, that's very valuable. You can do that with modern video game systems where you pre-order a game. It will download it to encrypt it or whatever to the hard drive over time. I always I kind of joke about this. It's like a drizzle versus dribble, but it's I guess what we would call a drizzle download, not a dribble download. Where it's using minimum bandwidth over some period of time. But this speaks to the thing I brought up front, which is the RTM date, right? That's not happening now. Windows 10 is not complete. So, June 15th, July 1st, who knows? Someday in the future, they will RTM Windows 10. They might not call it that, but they'll do it. And that will trigger the delivery of these bits to your PCs so that on July 29th, we're not all fighting each other and the Microsoft servers to get the bits so that we can install it. We'll already have them, and we can just install it then.
Yeah.
What else?
Okay, that's good. Good. No. You're very helpful this way.
Yeah. Yeah, so we don't know the RTM date. People are continuing to ask us that. I mean, it obviously is going to RTM before July 29th, right?
Right. Yep.
But when?
Fair to say.
Yep, don't know. Because, if Microsoft is saying there will be some PCs out on July 29th with this preloaded, they have to give it to them, to the OEMs, some number of weeks usually.
Yeah, they're not going to be installing it in Best Buy the night before.
Let's hope not.
Can you imagine?
Right. And then, as we've brought up, whenever they do decide this is RTM, there may be a situation where you will, on July 29th, get Windows 10, and then you'll get a whole bunch of updates that day too, right? Just like what happened with Windows 8.1.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. So the RTM date's kind of arbitrary, to be honest.
Kind of, but like you said, it needs to be far enough in advance that the PC makers can get it shipped products through warehouses and distribution systems on boats and planes and trucks and whatever they do and into stores. That takes some amount of time.
Yep. Right.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the availability of actual PCs on July 29th is constrained.
Can I start? Can I start a really nasty rumor?
Sure.
So it's a 3 gigabyte download. They tell you that. I think Microsoft is setting up a massive peer-to-peer BitTorrent network using our computers.
Actually, it's funny you say that because they actually are.
Are they really?
Well, yeah. One of the features of Windows 10 is that it can do peer-to-peer downloading of, wait for it, Windows updates.
If you if you had to download, I'll have to do the math. 3 million, say, 20 million, 50 million. 3 gigabyte files, you might be interested in a way to distribute that load a little bit. At least not do it all on the same on the 29th.
Yeah.
So here's the problem. They can't actually enable this system until Windows 10 is actually on people's computers. But the benefit of having Windows 10 on people's computers at all, like in other words, I have a household of, actually I probably have like 20 computers, but let's pretend everyone in the house just has one computer, 4 or 5 computers or whatever in the house. That would be I can't do simple math. That would be 4 or 5 3 gigabyte downloads if we all had to download it separately. But using this peer-to-peer system that I'm talking about, if one of us got it early, installed it, and then the others got it on July 29th or July 30th or whatever, they could conceivably take advantage of the fact that the bits are already on my PC. Well, actually, could they? Because they're all still running Windows 8.1.
I know. I wonder.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So I think this is something that really can't be fulfilled until after Windows 10 is out in the world. It's kind of a chicken egg thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless that's what the Get Windows 10 update really is the so this is a really good conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
I like it, huh? Because all you need to do, for instance, is push out, let's say today you push out 100 megabyte file. That's a part of the whole. You can seed it then to everybody else.
You're describing like Usenet news groups or like a torrent site.
That's basically how BitTorrent works. So in BitTorrent, you need to have at least one seeding site that has the full copy. But then everybody else can have a partial copy and share it with everybody else. So you could, in theory, push out everything but the last bit. And then Microsoft has the one final version. And everybody can get a copy from one another in a BitTorrent mesh network. And then everybody has to go to Microsoft for the final bit. And it's done.
So I don't believe that is going to happen.
They'd have to tell people, frankly.
In Windows 8.1, exactly. Right. The ability to do peer-to-peer updating is a feature of Windows 10. But I think what that means is that it's October or whatever. And some big bunch of updates comes out on some patch Tuesday. And on my desktop computer with a hardwired connection, I blow them all down really quickly, but then the other computers on the home network get it from me instead of using that WAN bandwidth or whatever. It's basically the system they had for branch offices, but applied to consumers.
Yeah, right. I mean, my question is, how many people really will want it on the very first day?
That's
everybody who's listening right. Everybody who's listening to this show will, but there are a lot of people who will not. Right. And
I want it. I actually want it before that date. And I think that's another interesting question. For example, why couldn't Windows Insiders get it on the day it's RTMs? It's just electronic software. It's not going to break the internet. Like, why not just give it away early?
Maybe that'll be a present. Like, hey, thanks for helping us beta test Windows 10.
I would think so. I would think so.
Yeah. That'd be nice. It'd be a nice gesture. Right?
Yep.
I just want the finished bits.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I'd be willing to wait till August 1st.
Yeah.
I just want the finished bits when they're really feeling good about it.
Yep.
I feel strong. This is it. This is the one. I like the idea of me not having to go out and download. Here, part of the problem is if you're in a business or like here, I don't want everybody in the business to download a 3 gigabyte file.
Why, do you have other things going on that maybe that would impact?
I would like to download
What would these activities be described?
Put it on a USB key and in an orderly fashion have our IT department install it one by one, making sure there'd be no... We certainly won't put... we're running Windows 8 on our editors' machines. You know what? I should just run back. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to run back and see if the editors have it, because we could have a problem here. Because if they do and they reserve it.
When you say Windows 8, do you mean 8.1 or?
Yeah, well, I don't, whatever. We bought these Dell editing boxes, these workstations. Actually, here comes Alex to tell me. We're controlling the Windows update, so they don't. We control Windows Update. And they don't see the little thing?
Ask Alex, how do you
we're using App
control it?
Locker.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
Or something like App Locker.
Are you on a domain?
We have a Windows Update server, yes.
Yep.
No, but are you on a domain?
Are you on a domain, Alex? Yes, we are.
Yep.
What's the name of the domain, Alex? Leo's House.
Wow. Well,
no, I guess we are.
Aside.
I had no idea. I had no idea we were so sophisticated. So we do control updates for that very reason.
But the domain is the reason why you don't have it.
Yeah, and we do use App Locker. I think we got App Locker.
Well, the way you could have through policy, even with like a mobile management solution, blocked that update that delivers the software. That would have done it.
I'm sure that we've done that. Because
I don't know that you would have even known about it. I mean, honestly.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Until now. I mean, today, knowing now that this happened, you might retroactively go and
Alex says none of the editors have been bothered by anything remotely looking like life itself because they need to stay in a sealed booth.
Are they the Morlocks or the? I always forget which
they're Morlocks. No, they have not been bothered by that little pop-up. Which brings up the other, which you kind of, but I know I'm going to get lots of calls on the radio show. Lots of people thought this was a virus because we've trained them.
By the way, this is what makes me crazy about Microsoft's inability to communicate everything about this, because we already people like us, all three of us, are kind of a front line of sorts of support. You know, this we're going to get these questions. Microsoft must get these questions times a million.
Yep. If
the answers were just there, at least we could, it'd still be a little bit of a pain, but we could explain it, And actually, Mary Jo, I'll ask you this question. We never talked about this, but knowing that Monday they were going to announce the date, and it was almost certainly going to be July 29th, you kind of, I had this idea in my head about the type of thing that I might write. And the thing that I wanted to write, or the thing that I sort of thought was the story, was that Microsoft is going to release Windows 10 on July 29th. That's the story. But you know what the story really is? You have a stupid icon on your computer, and here's why. And I didn't write that story, and it really bothers me because even right now I'm getting emails from people who are like, did you know that this is happening? And they put a little picture of their tray with the little flag, and it's like, I wrote this story on Monday, but I didn't really, because what I wrote about was the release of Windows 10, and in that story it says, oh, by the way, you're going to see this tray icon thing. But of course, you don't think I don't know you, but I didn't think this through. And the real story, because it's what is freaking people out, is you're going to see this icon, and here's what it means.
Yeah.
Did you write that story? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I didn't think around it.
Because she's not sensationalistic.
No.
No, but you know what I thought? I thought we would get some information, but not all, because the strategy, as it always is with anything about Windows, is trickle things out as long as possible and just give people drips of information over time, right? Dribbles. So there's never going to be a day, I don't think, when we know all, because they want us to keep coming back to
that day of great epiphany. Yes, I await this day.
I think if I were them, and I mean, they have whole teams figuring this out. I'm just throwing this out there. I would have maybe taken over the Microsoft.com homepage and put a thing out there and said, hey, if you got this thing on your computer today, don't panic. This is what this is. Because how many normal people know to go to blogs.windows.com?
Or to go to Twitter and get an answer from Gabe Ball personally.
Oh, but nobody does that. Most people
That's what I mean.
Yeah, they call Leo on the Tech Guy show.
The other thing is, I am not a sensationalist, I'm not a conspiracy theory kind of guy or whatever, but I do spend a lot of time criticizing companies like Google and Facebook in particular for their kind of privacy invasions, real or imagined. And it's hard to look at this, and there's no chance to get rid of it, for a normal human being. Like no one normal would ever know that you could get rid of it, how you might do it. Yeah. I have a problem with that because there are people out there who don't want this thing.
It's not as if they pushed a U2 album on my hard drive or anything.
By the way, it's a little bigger than a U2 album. And
there is, I think, in companies, an increasing arrogance. Companies don't understand. This is my computer. It's the same thing with smartphones and everything else.
I was just going to say that.
Hardware, not yours.
Except that this is an ugly reminder that it's not.
It isn't. I know.
It is your hardware, but this thing that we're all looking at, this Windows thing,
we're borrowing it.
You're borrowing it, just like you're borrowing the air.
Yeah.
You don't really own it.
Yeah.
You know.
But it would behoove companies. Yes, that's the legal truth. To pretend otherwise, maintain the fiction that this is my computer, please.
It is shitty.
I feel like things are changing. Expectations are changing.
They
now,
are.
right? And so people who are, people who've been doing this a long time, like us, we have a set of expectations about how we're going to get an update to anything, a browser, an operating system. But the people who have not been using Windows for 20 years or whatever,
they don't know.
They think, hey, it's awesome if I get updates all the time, and I don't really need to know about that.
Well, the other side of that is 90% of people in their homes never bought a copy of Windows in their life. That Windows to them goes with the thing, with the machine, and that's that.
Well, these people think Office is part of Windows,
right?
But then why would they need to know the? It's like, I thought the steering wheel came with the car.
Yeah, it's like you got a pop-up on your windscreen that said your new steering wheel's almost ready. Would you like to reserve it today?
Yeah.
What?
Right. The heck is that? And
I thought I had
Mary
one.
Jo, actually, both of you have met my wife. She's really smart. She doesn't care about technology at all. I'll go up to her office occasionally. I hate doing this because it's always so disappointing, but I'll look at her computer, and she's been getting these pop-ups. You got to do something with Windows. You got to install these upgrades. You got to do whatever. And she bunches the windows down in the corner so she can't see them anymore. And it's like okay. So I can only imagine. I haven't asked her about this. I should ask what she thinks about this. I mean, to me, that's kind of a normal person reaction because she uses the computer as a tool. She's trying to get work done. Windows is bothering her. She doesn't care what it wants. She's trying to get work done, And I don't think they thought through the various reactions that people were going to have to this. Not to mention the reactions of the people who didn't get this that really want to have this, which is interesting too.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing to point out again, because we've said this a few times, but just so people know, if you take this 1-year free deal and you sign up and you reserve, it means you're going to get everything from Microsoft. I believe it means you're going to get everything from Microsoft through Windows Update. All your security fixes, your new features, everything pushed to you automatically. And I don't believe that.
Let me add a nuanced addition to that, I guess.
Okay.
Which is, if you look at where did I see this? I think it was in the matrix of updates. They mentioned that with Windows 10 Home, it is not possible to defer those updates. And remember when they first announced free Windows 10, and we were talking to those guys after the show, and they said, one of us asked, does this mean that you're going to basically require them to accept these updates? And they said yes. That version, or Windows 10 is that version explicitly. Right. Windows 10 Pro and then Enterprise, both of which can be managed by businesses, have the ability to defer updates. Defer doesn't mean say no. It means say no for a little while. Postpone. Yeah, I think that if you're in Windows 10 Pro, like I will be on all of my machines, I would have I don't know what it's going to look like, but I think there would be the ability to certainly ignore optional updates and even just choose not to install some critical updates, but that over time
you will have to.
They would have to come. Yeah. I think that's what this means.
I think so too. Although again, this is another one of those gray areas they haven't explained. That's around those servicing branches, right? There's current branch, which means you take everything automatically. And then there's the current branch for business, which means you're going to have some ability to postpone, but we don't know for how long, but it's definitely not forever.
Oh, so
the only ones who can postpone, the only ones who can postpone for 10 years are enterprise customers who have access to long-term servicing branch.
It begs, the way that you just said that makes me wonder now if I, as an individual, can in fact defer that. Maybe you have to in fact be a business to get on that business. What did you call it?
The current branch or business. I think anybody who has Pro is going to be able to. But again, when I've asked that question, I haven't gotten a straight answer.
I mean, these answers have to be out there somewhere. Why don't they?
Yeah. They're out there somewhere.
I guess what I'd like
and
to
we've
know,
all asked. We've asked, right? All of us.
Yeah.
I guess what I'd like to know.
Not just Mary Jo and I.
And what I'd like to be able to tell people who are less sophisticated than the people who listen to Windows Weekly, should they should they say yes? Should they update? Because that's basically what you're saying yes to is, yeah, I want to update the minute it's available.
Okay. So that answer is actually really easy to answer. The answer is yes. No.
Okay.
It depends. And I will say this in defense of Microsoft and Windows 10. This is going to be the easiest upgrade and probably the most reliable upgrade that they've ever done to a new version of Windows.
So that's good. I want to hear that. So you feel that way. You really feel like this, nothing, what could possibly go wrong?
I can prove it.
Okay.
But obviously things can go wrong. The problem with Windows is that there are a billion different hardware combinations out there in the world. And there's all kinds of things that can go wrong. But the reason we know that this one is different and is better than previous versions of Windows is that for the first time ever, Microsoft is the one handling the update. Remember, if you'd gone back to Windows 8 or Windows 7 or whatever, and let's say it was 3 months before the new version of Windows came out.
Wait a minute. Did you say, I'm sorry, the reason you don't have to worry is because Microsoft is handling this?
Yes. No, hold on. No, let me explain what that means.
Okay.
Not because Microsoft's more capable.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But because Microsoft is confident enough in this to take on that responsibility. In the past, PC makers were the ones that had to handle this. And that's why you used to see these things. HP would say, HP or Dell, I'm using HP as an example, but any PC maker would say, obviously you can go to a store and buy an update. But because you bought the computer from us in a certain time frame, we're going to give you a free or low-cost upgrade package. Right. And it would typically be delivered as like a disc you get in the mail, but maybe in recent years you could get like an electronic version. And the PC maker would support that. And in order to support that, they would have to do all the testing to make sure that every driver worked, fine and it would work. Now, that doesn't preclude the owner of a PC from doing something screwy to it that they don't know about and something could go wrong. But when that happened, the support would go to the PC maker, not to Microsoft. That was always the relationship. The support relationship
was the first time this changed.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Not because I think Microsoft is more credible or more able to support this.
Maybe they
but the very fact that they're taking it on tells me that they feel strongly that this is going to work really well. And if anyone's, look, I mean, we've had all kinds of screwy experiences during the beta and everything, but when this thing goes out the door, the goal is to have had this thing tested on as many hardware configurations as possible, more than any before, to have drivers that are tailored for that particular configuration, that we're not all getting generic Intel drivers, generic Radeon drivers, generic whatever drivers, that you're going to get the drivers that are specific to your machine through Windows Update, not through the PC maker, but through Windows Update. I'm not saying, listen, all kinds of things are going to go wrong, of course. But it's going to be the best and most reliable upgrade cycle ever.
Okay,
within
I
the confines of what that means.
But and everybody in the who listens to this show and watches this show, those are the people that will be asked by friends and family. Well, what should I do? So this is for all of us. Normally, we would say
it still depends.
Wait. If you may have, an old version of Roxio CD Creator. That crashes and you won't be able to use it, or worse, that Windows crashes because of it.
But
and you won't know that on day one. You might.
I don't actually think there's going to be a lot of that. I really don't. And the reason is, it's not a major platform change. I don't. There are not a lot of stories of Photoshop Element 7.0 just doesn't work for some reason in Windows 10 or whatever. Like, you don't really hear that. I don't think that's going to be a big problem. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But
it has been a very extensive public beta. Presumably, virtually every piece of software has been tested on it.
So here's the thing, though. What's the advantage of it? Like, in other words, you're going to go through it's not the onerous hardship it used to be, but it's still, if you're being pragmatic about it, you should be backing up and making sure you can recover from this.
There's no opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
You can't.
Well, wait a minute.
No. I mean, you can as an individual do that.
But they're not telling people that. They're just saying, "Hey, good news, you're going to get it."
Right.
I'm sure.
That's true.
The day they send you the notice and say, "Hey, it's coming," there probably will be some things in there. I would think, like back up. Be ready.
It's also the first version of Windows that supports the ability to roll back to the previous version.
I'm going to predict something. I bet you they won't say back up and be ready, because that would imply, that would, remember, what is the goal here? The reason they did this, stupid, I think, as it was, is because they want to get everybody to install Windows 10 as absolutely quickly as possible. So anything that's a speed bump, including the
I'll take this a step further. I think what they want to announce on July 30th that more people have already upgraded to Windows 10 than are using an iPhone or something.
Yes.
You know, they want some number that they can match to some number of users over here and say more people on day one are already here than there. Whatever it is.
The last thing they want to do is give people any trepidation at all.
But you have to have confidence that this is going to work. You're not going to, you know, you can't do that unless the underlying system has been evolved over the past several versions, which it has. To, you know, remember, Windows updates, Windows upgrades used to take hours. Clean installing Windows used to take hours. It was an all-day affair to get all your apps installed and do all that stuff. You know, you can go from Windows 7 or Windows 8.1 to Windows 10 in about 20 minutes. And if, you know, for the most part, again, no promises there, but for the most part, if that thing doesn't work for some reason, you can then roll back to the previous version.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I would still be, I hear you on saying this is going to be the smoothest and the easiest, at least in theory, update of any Windows release. But I don't know. If I were going to upgrade somebody else's PC, like a family member who didn't have technical support, I think I would wait. I do.
Well, right, but that's what I mean. In other words, the question is why? Yeah. Why would you do this? In other words,
why? Because the first wave of people who...
No, I mean, why would...
say the first wave of people who get it are going to be the guinea pigs, and they're going to work out a lot of the...
I meant the opposite. In other words, why would you, as the person thinking about upgrading, why would you do this? You know, what is it going to give you that you don't already have? Right.
You should wait. You should wait.
Yeah, at least a month. I mean, see how it goes.
What happens?
Enjoy the horror stories on the local news when everyone loses all their data.
What happens if you decline? Does that icon go away? The answer, Paul, is you can't decline.
I know.
Okay, I was going to say I don't recall that being an option.
You cannot decline.
You just shut that off or hide it.
Well, you have to know enough to uninstall it or hide it, but it does not go away. There is no way to say no. I don't want it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's telling.
Yeah.
They're going to give you an offer you can't refuse, Leo.
That's exactly right.
It really is.
We would like to make sure that you and everyone you know install Windows 10.
If you have a HoloLens, an actual hand with a ring will come out toward you and you can kiss it.
Yeah.
I don't understand. There is a certain arrogance to this application that I have a hard time reconciling, especially because I feel like Microsoft, over the past several years especially, has done a really good job compared to Google or Facebook in respecting people's privacies and, in fact, being a little annoying about it. A little too many times. Yes, I know. Yeah, locations, got it. You know, like you have to really explicitly tell it that it's okay to do everything you want, you know, so the phone just works, so your PC just works. And then they put this stuff on your computer.
Let me recontextualize this. It might make this crystal clear.
Okay.
I'm sitting here on my Windows. I got a little pop-up that says, hey, good news. The next version of Candy Crush comes out July 29th. Would you like to reserve it? And that's it.
It's like one of those joke applications where you it says, yeah, this new thing's coming. Would you like it? And then there's only one box and it says yes.
Yes, it's exactly like that.
And you're like, okay.
And by the way, I am going to willy-nilly get the new version of Candy Crush on my PC, aren't I?
Oh, yes, you are.
See, right there.
I know.
You see?
I don't like that one either.
I don't want it.
Sure. I don't like the fact that they're advertising new apps in the start menu. I get that it's, you know, some people will like it.
Though, right?
This is an advertisement. There's no way around that. This is an advertisement.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes it everywhere.
It's not an advertisement. This is like when you join that Columbia Record and Tape Club, and if you forgot to send back the thing, they would just send you the tape or whatever. So you like Vanilla Ice arrives in the mail, and you're like, I didn't order this, but you didn't say no either. But I you know, what is this thing? I didn't want this. It's I don't like that. I don't know what you call this, but it's not a positive thing. You know, whatever that word is.
I think it's reflecting, like I said, the changing set of expectations about what people are going to get and how they're going to get these updates, new releases.
Okay, I'm just kind of a devil's advocate thing. I'm just trying to think this thing through because, you know, one of the comparisons I always have made in the past when we talk about Windows Phone and getting updates and everything is that every day we update apps and no one thinks anything about that. But Microsoft can't ship like a security update on Windows Phone or whatever. When Apple updates iOS, you get a prompt and you install it. And I think you can put it off, but I think eventually, right? Don't you? I mean, I guess you could just keep putting it off. But they kind of bother you about it.
No, the way it works
No?
is
tell me.
Initially, the only way you would know is if you went into the updates section of your settings.
Yeah, there's like a little, it actually says.
And then it will
like,
say that. But it waits for some time, a considerable amount of time before it gives you a notification.
But eventually you do have to install it or not?
No.
So you never actually have to install
Never
it?
have to. And I think, in the chat room, fill me in, but I think that you do get a notification to make it a little bit more in your face. And I think if you swipe that away, if you say, okay, got it, and you don't do it, that's it.
But that so I'm glad they don't force it on you. But it's fair to say because Apple talks about this all.
They encourage it.
Fine. But Apple always talks about how a huge percentage of their users upgrades to the newest version every single time.
It's their users. That's how their users are. They want the new version, so they don't have to coerce.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In other words, we're kind of defending the everyman here and saying that this is kind of onerous and that some people certainly won't like this. But I think it's fair to say on mobile platforms that people are
they're a little more used to it, and they want it,
accepting of it, right?
Well, they want
they want it. Yeah. So, I mean, are we making something out of nothing here, or is this in fact a serious issue?
Well, based on that, change. It's a change, right? And people get
Is that the problem? Just because it's different, so we're freaking out about it?
I think so. I mean, the part I'm the most freaked out about on behalf of the common man, as you said, is
we are all commoners after all.
How long can you defer updates? I'm very curious about that. And if it's a month, is that enough for IT?
Right.
For everyday home users, oh well, you're just going to have to take them. That's it. You're going to get them, whether you want them or not, whether you're ready or not. Here they come.
It's there's no pleasant way to say that, is there? You know.
Yeah, and what I guess my real concern. Anybody who listens to this show knows what's going on.
I tend to hear from people that are more concerned that they're not going to get it, right?
Right.
Because a lot of the people I write for Tech Enthusiasts, where people that want, we want this thing. And so a lot of my emails from people freaking out because they don't see this icon and they see everyone else is getting it and why have I been excluded and what does that mean and when or how can I get it? But I mean, I think we all do, right? Try to think about how does this impact normal people?
Where's my vuvuzela? I got to play the fanfare for the common man.
Is it like a King Crimson song or something?
No, come on. This is good stuff. I'm sorry, that's silly. I should just stop right now. She said, Mary Jo said common man, and I thought, well, it's an excuse to play a little Mussorgsky or whatever this is. All right, so moving on. We've talked enough about the badge, the button.
Okay, fair enough.
We know we're going to get it. We're going to get it.
You're going to get it.
Get it. So
you're not going to escape, just like that guy from FIFA is not going to escape.
Yes. Yes. Think of yourself all as the Sepp Blatter of
Yep. This is our role in the world. Jeez, without the money.
People are asking, remember we had, the only reason I did it is because Microsoft sent us a kit and everything, a Windows 7 launch party. Remember that with the cards and the balloons?
Oh, dear God.
Are they going to do that? I would have a party. If they send me balloons, I'll do it.
No, I think this time around they chose the stuck neck approach. They're just going to jam it in there.
It's going to happen. You don't get a choice.
Then they're going to release a press release touting all the people that upgraded. You know, so you're going to wake up one day and just have it. What the hell happened to my computer? By the way, there are going to be people who don't even notice.
Well, you know, that's the question is what would you'll see the new notification center instead of the charms.
Will you? I mean, you really have to go out of your way to even find that thing.
Okay. Well, what happens if you do Windows C? Nothing. It goes away.
Actually, that brings up the Cortana.
Okay. So you want to shut down your PC. You've been trained after some years that you do Windows C.
I suppose you could tell Cortana to shut down your computer.
And then your machine, instead of putting up a charms bar, is going to say, yes, Leo. That could be scary.
And you know what the first reaction to that's going to be?
What?
I think I got a virus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Cortana, unfortunately, does not go, yes, Leo. Cortana says, I would like you to configure me now so that you can use me. And you go through a multi-step process before you can even use her. But then she'll say, yes, Leo. Or in my case, yes, boss, because I like that.
You don't use El Jefe?
El Jefe. Oh, I might now. Yes, El Jefe. El Patron. Yeah, there's a lot of things, you know, that's fun to teach Cortana to call you something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What else can we beat to death today?
Yeah, well, we beat this one to death. That's nice. Good. Well,
All right, so that was line 1.
Yeah.
This is a multi-line document, and you said we'll have lots of time for questions later.
Yeah.
Did I say?
Well, we're definitely going to let people ask live.
I got a
questions.
question.
Should we let them do it after the?
You want to do it
first
now,
ad,
or we could do it later? Whatever.
I don't know. What do you think?
Doesn't matter.
I'll tell you what.
We're not going to have any answers anyway.
Well, here's a question. I'll pretend it's from the chat room. Tech Potato asks in the chat room, what if my machine isn't really up to par for Windows 10? I guess it is, because anything that runs Windows 7 and 8 will run Windows 10, right? There's no... What if I don't have 3 gigabytes free?
Yeah.
You're going to have to get them.
Find them. Okay.
Go get some.
So actually, that's going to be a concern with some of the mini tablets, especially that have come out over the past year. And there was talk at one time that they were going to enable this over SD, and I've not heard about that. So I don't know if that's going to be automatic or how that's going to work, but I would assume that's the case. I mean, a lot of these tablets, just default configuration, don't have 3 gigs free.
It's anything under 1024 by 600 will have problems, right? Nice guy says in the chat room.
Yeah, that's the minimum res, yeah.
So you wouldn't get that pop-up. So my WinBook, which I can't even install updates, isn't going to go to Windows 10.
Sure. Are there, I don't think they've sold any in the past year or so that have.
Oh, yeah. This was the one, remember, that we were all talking about? The $59 tablet.
Yeah, but even I think that was 1024 by 600.
Oh, maybe it is. Yeah, maybe it is.
I think so.
So, but, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to boot it up, and I'll let you know.
Yeah.
The $59.
This is going to be the most widely distributed virus ever made. You know?
If somebody hasn't yet written that article, they will.
Well, there is a checking tool, isn't there, that tells you if you have enough space and the right system requirements.
Yeah, and that's the thing that Leo, he said that it flashes by really quick. It is hilarious.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Because I couldn't read
Doesn't it send you an email, though?
No, you can use, I can tell you how to get back to it because I don't know why it works the way it does. It's just broken, but where is this thing? So if you go to right-click on that, choose, it doesn't matter what you choose, check your upgrade status. So you'll see it will flash, and it disappears. Now click on the hamburger menu. I know, it's so stupid. And then, click on that, and then check your, it just says that's interesting. Yours says your PC.
It tells me I'm an expert, though. I like that.
No, skip that. Go to your PC is ready.
Your PC is ready.
And it tells you don't have any issues.
So that's is that the screen that goes by so fast that I don't?
Yes, that's the same screen.
Microsoft, did they not test this?
I listened. This is just an early indication of the quality you can expect when Windows 10 ships.
Because seriously, I've done this on several machines, and in no case could I read it.
If you had any issues, that item would have said, check your PC. And on my computer, and I find this to be very strange, there is one device that has a problem that is not fully compatible with Windows 10. And it is my AMD Radeon HD 7570, which has to be the most common video card ever made. So I don't actually think there's a problem with it. In fact, I think this was, remember they said in the last build that Edge had a problem with certain Radeon cards and there was a fix. I think this is all that is, but.
How do I close this?
Anyway, that's the screen that flashes.
How do I close this window? I can't get it closed. Apparently, I've made it big.
Oh, you're probably in tab. Oh, no, I see. Oh, look at that. So just right-click on, in the taskbar, just right-click on the flag. No, not that. Yeah, over in the middle of the screen on the bottom. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm making you crazy.
The application button that it looks like a flag. That's in the middle of the screen. Oh, no, not in there. Not this one. No.
This one?
On the taskbar, Leo.
Oh, this one.
Yes. Does it not? No?
No.
Wow.
No. I guess it's a one-way. Maybe I can right-click and close window. There we go. Ah, thank you. Thank God. Don't you love it, kids? I do this to amuse the children. It's like a birthday party act. Uncle Leo's going to show you how stupid he is now.
It's a good thing my Microsoft band doesn't have a blood pressure measurement. I want to drink some orange juice.
This is when we need Microsoft Bob. WJKO says, you seem frustrated. Have you considered Linux?
Sure. Would you write you seem frustrated. We'd like to write a threatening letter.
We have a font for that. This is actually a line that you have in here that we really should cover. When I do this, and it looks like willy-nilly I'm doing it, is there anything going away? Like I'm going to lose Minesweeper or anything? What goes away when I install?
Oh, the big one. Well, I don't know, big one, but the one that has caused the most consternation, even though we knew this, was Windows Media Center. So if you have Windows 7
remove it?
or Windows 8.1 with Media Center Pro, it will actually be removed. Yeah.
Wow. Because it won't run, so they have to remove it.
Actually, it runs fine, which is part of the problem with this. But they don't want to support it, I think, is the real issue. It's interesting.
Okay,
Media Center people,
now they're going too far. That is really a problem.
Well, this is an application that has not been updated in several years, right? I suspect that it really is a support issue, which I sort of understand. It got kind of a mulligan in Windows 8 and 8.1, where they left it out there for people who wanted it. But when you think back in time, and this goes back, Sanofsky did this, and then they did this with Windows 10. When people complain about Media Center, Microsoft has this way of giving you like the harsh reality. Sanofsky at one point, I don't remember the numbers, but it was like some tiny percentage of people that run Windows ever ran Media Center, and 9 out of 10 times that they did, it was a misclick. Like they ran it by mistake, right? That was the first little screw you that the Media Center people got from Microsoft. And then with Windows 10, what they said, and actually, I think it might have been Gabe who wrote about this, mentioned that the vast majority of people who use Media Center only use it to play DVDs. It's not, for that traditional Media Center record TV stuff. And so what they're going to do for Media Center people is that they will give you, I have no idea what form this takes. We've never seen it. I don't know what this is, but Microsoft says it will provide a free DVD playback app in Windows 10 for Media Center users. So they're going to address it that way.
Yep.
And they're going to replace Solitaire and Minesweeper and with a
Hover and Purple Palace and Pinball, whatever that was called.
Candy Crush Saga.
Right. Well, that's not pre-installed, so you will get it, but it's not installed.
That's nice because that's a big game. So that's not downloading. I have to say I want it.
No, it is downloading. You're going to have to download it separately. You're going to get it. That seems to be the theme.
Let me just write this down. That's the title of this show.
You're gonna. You're gonna get it. There are new versions of Solitaire and Minesweeper in Windows 10.
There are.
They've been around. They've been around for a while. They were available to Windows 8 users.
Right. But you have to download.
And they're nice. I mean, they're actually they're good games.
Will Clippy come back? Somebody wants to know.
No Clippy.
A little shy.
And desktop gadgets. How about that? Some people really
desktop
love
gadgets.
Oh, that's gone, right? I mean, we know that's gone. Yeah.
But that's another thing, right? It was a Windows 7 era technology that was at that time supported. Actually, that one's from Windows Vista. And in Windows 7, they kind of kept it around, and it's gone, right? In Windows 8, it's gone. But you could upgrade from Windows 7 to Windows 10. So what happens then? They get rid of it.
That's who's going to really be disoriented is a Windows 7 user, because that's the biggest. I mean, that is a big change.
Yeah. It's the biggest audience too.
Right. But again, you have to proactively click that box and confirm your reservation.
Yep.
And
it's not like,
you
by the way,
might do that
none of this will be a
frustration.
surprise. It will tell you this during
Right.
setup. It's not going to just,
Right.
Great.
you're not going to just boot into Windows 10 and then say, hey, what happened to those things I use every single day? Like they'll tell you this.
What will happen? Chat room wants to know. Dallas wants to know: will there be significant differences in the Windows Live Mail client?
Well, okay, so the Windows Live Mail client doesn't ship as part of
That's
Windows.
a separate
It's
download, right? So it would stay.
part of
It would
Windows
stay there.
Essentials.
Yeah.
So that you can still run it. It still works fine. If you have it installed, they're going to replace the OneDrive app with the sync engine that comes in Windows 10, obviously. And then Windows 10 comes with its own mail, contacts, calendar apps, which are those universal apps.
And they're quite good.
Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah. I mean, Mary, I think Mary
If you're using the Live client, you'll like this.
Well, Windows Live Mail is like an Outlook type app, a desktop application. It's fairly, I don't want to say complex, but there's a lot, a lot going on there. The Mail app,
Sophisticated.
there you go.
Yeah.
I don't write or speak for a living, so I can't think of words.
I need words.
But the Mail app that's in Windows 8 or 8.1 or this new Mail app that will be in Windows 10 is simpler, although it's getting pretty sophisticated. The version of Windows 10 uses Word, for the rendering engine for, you get a little Word toolbar and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Inti asks in the chat room, what will happen to people with hardware that is only Windows 7? There only are Windows 7 drivers. Will they automatically get Windows 10 drivers? Will the stuff keep working, or is there going to be? Well, as you said, the compatibility is
it will work. I mean, the thing is, obviously, you always want the latest version of drivers and the ones that are designed specifically for the OS version you're using. But if you have Windows 10 and there are only Windows 7 drivers for some piece of hardware, or Windows 8, whatever drivers, they will work.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not going to be too disorienting for most people.
Oh, no, it's going to be horribly disorientating. I mean, I think, like the Windows 7 audience is the big one. I think the nice thing there is it's familiar desktop interface. You boot into it, taskbar, start button, tray. You bring up a start menu. Windows run in Windows, not at full screen, which I love that. A lot of people. Yeah. That's all good. It's fine. I think the new start menu is going to be different enough that people are going to kind of pause on it and maybe need to wrap their heads around it. They're not going to understand the tiles, especially. I mean, it's goofy, but if you want to, you can actually get rid of all that stuff, and it will look a little bit more like Windows 7. And maybe some people will want to do that. I'm actually semi-surprised there isn't a switch in settings that says
make it easy. Yeah,
turn off the tiles. And I think that would do a lot to help people coming from Windows 7.
Well, it's not too late. It's getting close, but it's not too late.
Getting close, yeah.
And I should be clear. I'm really excited about it. I immediately accepted on all my PCs, and I want Windows 10.
Right. Saying yes to an upgrade as quick as you can has never hurt anyone.
Well, I'm that guy. But this Dell, the new XPS 13, which I love. And by the way, we're going to talk a little bit about a sister version of that coming up.
Yep.
But I love this, and it's Windows 8.1. It's my Windows machine that I use most of the time. And I can't wait. Of course, I'll upgrade immediately. I have resisted putting the beta on here. I've only used the beta in a VM.
Right.
But which, by the way, somebody else had the same problem. It broke my VM. I have to reinstall with the latest update. Seems like the VM's very confused.
Which VM are you using?
VMware Fusion on the Mac. And it just says, what happened to this? Did you copy it? And then I say yes, and then it says it can't run it. I have to reinstall the ISO. Okay. That's some weird thing. Windows 10 on the hardware that I've installed it on is good. But I've kept this machine pristine because this is the production machine. So
my biggest issue with Windows 10 remains and will not be fixed, and that's just that the OneDrive sync client from Windows 8.1 is so awesome.
Oh.
I just can't get over it. And there is no fix for this. There's nothing you can do that makes it acceptable to me. Like, it's just
what happened? What did they do wrong?
Well, remember they had placeholder files in 8.1. And that means that from the File Explorer, you can see your everything you have in OneDrive. And I have terabytes of stuff in OneDrive.
Right.
I can go back into my archives dating back 15 years.
Right.
And if I want to, I can arbitrarily select folders of files and say, make this available offline. And if I'm on a plane or not connected in whatever way, They're still available to me. And Windows 10 works like Windows 7 or Windows 8.0 or the Mac, where you get a kind of a pop-up wizard, and it says you go down the little tree, select the stuff you want to see offline, and it syncs it. But when you visit OneDrive and File Explorer or the Finder, you only see the stuff you synced. You can't see everything.
Oh.
And I hate that. I just hate it.
But they've said that'll be coming before the end of this calendar year. So the replacement for whatever placeholders is.
So is Christmas. I mean, it's it's not going to help me on July 29th or help me today.
No, it's not. It's not.
So this is my OneDrive, and okay. I'm not sure what you mean, but I'm sure it will.
Well, by the way, so on that particular system, it's likely that you don't have enough stuff in OneDrive that it matters.
I don't. I didn't. I've done.
So you can sync the whole thing and not even think about it.
Right.
See, when you have as much stuff in OneDrive as I do,
you're not syncing it all. I am. I get what you're saying. Right,
I can't.
Right. I get it.
On a Windows 10, if I install Windows 10 on any computer,
I get it.
It will say it throws up a little warning.
Right.
We can't sync all of this. So you need to tell us what you want to sync, and that's a monotonous product. A project going in and expanding folders and figuring out exactly the little bits that are important to you. And then, the nice thing about this current system, and I'm still using it one on my desktop, is arbitrarily today I could be researching something, going in through the folder, whatever folders. I could go back. I did a bunch of stuff about Windows 95. I can go back to 1995, find some stuff I wrote about Windows 95 back then, and it's just available to me. If I wanted to do that in Windows 10, I would have to open the sync client, choose those folders, sync it down.
That's not good.
It's garbage. It's a big problem, and I sort of understand and respect is the wrong word.
No, I don't.
But I understand,
and I don't respect it because they don't. It takes no space to show you a stub.
Well, actually, that's the problem. It does take some space.
Well, a little bit. It's not a huge amount.
When you ship devices that have, what if I bought a device that had 16 gigs of storage? And I put Windows on it in Office, and there's 0 bytes free or whatever, and I go to OneDrive couldn't even sync. It couldn't even show placeholders.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons they had to change it, by the way. Because of all you cheap bastards out there buying these stupid little computers.
But it goes. But they're
ruining it for the rest of us.
It's a consequence of offering unlimited storage on OneDrive. And they didn't. I guess they didn't figure out. Well, now what do we do about representing it on the hard drive?
Were you actually going to use that storage?
Yeah.
How dare you?
So what that means is, Apple's addressed this a little bit because that's what they do with photos, and then they put unless you specifically say I want originals.
Expire them, don't they? Eventually, I mean,
or
did they change that?
What they do now is with the iCloud Drive, which is this new thing they just introduced, is unless you specifically say I want the originals on my device, they'll put thumbnails basically.
So you get placeholders.
Essentially, yeah. They're bigger than just like a name, though. I mean, you get the thumb drive.
Well, yes, because it has to. By the way, that's what OneDrive Innate One does as well. It has to give you enough information to render a thumbnail in whatever size thumbnail you choose. Right.
Yeah. So what is the flip over? I mean, I guess you made it. You had to do it manually. Say don't sync that folder anymore.
Yeah,
because you put all your music in there, for instance.
So in other words, I get a laptop and it has 128 gigs or 256 gigs of storage. I install Windows 10 on it, and nothing else is on it. OneDrive will have a little X on it, and a little icon, and it will pop up a notification, configure OneDrive, and I'll get a little wizard, and it will say, choose the folders you want to sync. And if one of the choices is choose all folders, and then it will say, nope, can't do that because I have whatever number of terabytes of storage used. It can't work. So, because in this case, there are no placeholders. It's just syncing. So it's going to get the actual files. And so I can go and check off, well, maybe I want, my documents folder or something, even though that's most of the storage. And maybe that's 100 gigabytes or something. And so it would sync that. But when I look at OneDrive in File Explorer, what I see is a documents folder. What I don't see is a music folder, a videos folder, a photos, a pictures folder, or whatever, a OneDrive camera roll folder, whatever I might have in there. I can't see it. I can't access that stuff. It's just not available, even though it's up in the cloud. It's kind of a tough compromise.
But that's the end. They did it. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're getting it.
You're getting it.
Yep.
No, and we talked about this last show. There are some people who are going to stay on Windows 8 because they
Because of this.
can't
Yeah.
go without the placeholders.
Yeah. It's just annoying because they're going to continue to see that little icon
I know.
Yeah.
nudging them. Come on.
Yeah.
You want to. Come on. And Windows 10. Come on.
Just hide
And one of the
it.
things,
Just hide
yeah.
it in your
Hide it.
toolbar.
Does it? Do we know how much space it takes up? How much memory? It is a one of those hotfix update files. You can uninstall it.
You
if
can.
wish.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
You can.
And there's information on the.
I mean, I
public
haven't really
internet.
thought. It's funny. I don't even know how to find this thing. It's going to be.
It's the
buried
latest
in there.
hotfix. It's in there. I can tell you the number.
Oh no, it is. You can see it. It's
Yep.
GWX, of course. It's it takes up 0.4 megabytes
Well, that's
of
not
memory.
That's not a lot. Well, that's not a lot nowadays. God, in the old days when you had 4 megs of memory, that would have been a significant
know.
amount. That's not a lot now.
It's 372K of RAM.
372. That's not bad.
Private workspace.
But it's just annoying because it doesn't do anything. It just sits there. It's not really. It's nothing.
It's like
it
my
has
son.
yeah, it's like
just-
my son.
It's just taking up
like a
resources.
teenager.
Just hide it, guys.
How to
Hide
Geek
it.
has a article.
Yeah. No, I wrote an article about getting rid of it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
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 There are some Zendrome in the chat room saying, "Oh yeah, there's a Windows registry key that you can." I think probably don't do that. Do not disable GWX and HKey local machine software policies. Microsoft Windows GWX.
I have no problem doing that.
That might have side effects, unknown side effects.
It is really small. It's I mean, there aren't many things running on my computer that are this small.
Well, it should be small. What's it doing? Nothing. It's putting an icon in
Guys,
my
let
system.
it go.
Yeah,
Let
I
it
know.
go.
You know what? It's a form of almost OCD where I don't want something running that I don't that
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, I just
Yeah.
don't
Sure.
want it there.
I like seeing the little Windows flag on my toolbar.
It's reassuring, isn't it?
It is.
I
Yeah.
can't
It
have enough.
reminds me I'm
Windows
running
flag.
Windows.
Yeah. Is this a Mac? Oh no, it's Windows. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
thank
I'm
God.
serious. I guess I don't care. I never really.
No,
noticed.
and you're probably like most people. Who cares? Yeah. Okay. But we have now shown that at least Paul and I care an hour and a half
Yes.
worth of caring.
Yes.
Yeah. When caring gets scary.
We care way too much. Let's
Yep.
take a break. I want to shave. I got my Harrys. You like your Harrys? Paul, you use Harrys, right?
Yep.
Love it. Harry's is a relatively new company that sends you, well, the idea is you buy razors and blades direct. Harry's is kind of special in some respects, though, because they make their own blades. So, you know, you're buying, I guess what I should say is you're buying from the factory direct. This all started when the guys who started Harry's, you know, startup guys, right? And how is it done right now and how do we make that better? They inquired around and they said, well, who makes the best blade? Where would we get them? And they said, well, there's only 2 factories. They're in Germany. So they bought one. That's the kind of thinking I like. They just said, well, good, we'll take it. Wrap it up, we'll take it home. So now they own the factory that makes them. So they can say to the factory, we want these blades to be sharp. We want to design them for ultimate performance. And they're going to sell them direct to you. So they're about half the cost of the drugstore blades. And they're great. You start with a Harry's kit. This is the Truman kit I'm playing with right now. That's different colored handles. With every kit, Truman kit, $15, by the way. You get the handle that you're going to keep using. 3 Harry's blades. They get the blade cover, which is great for travel. You get your choice of foaming shave gel or the Harry's cream, which comes in a tube. And then you can subscribe and you can keep getting updated on the shaving cream and the blades every month or so, or whatever you want. I think the default was every other month. I think it's just these are great blades, and $15 is a great deal. I'm going to make it even less. When you go to harrys.com and use the offer code Windows, and you're going to get $5 off, which makes it $10 for the kit, for the whole thing. And it's not like a sample size of the shave cream. It's a full size tuber aerosol can or whatever they call that. I'm really a fan of Harry's. The shave I get is amazing. And I think if you look at the Twitter, and I know I get plenty of tweets from Harry's users who found out about this on our shows, who say, you're right, best shave I've ever had. a great shave. Quality craftsmanship, simple design, convenience because of the internet. And by the way, Father's Day is coming. They have a special Father's Day kit that includes, of course, the razor, but also this really nice cast aluminum razor holder. It's very heavy. It's nice. You get it monogrammed for Dad. I am just a fan. I want you to try it. Harrys.com. Take a look. They also have a metal handle, the Winston set. That's the one I use. And I love every month I get my Harry's box. And I just know I'm always going to have a fresh blade because I don't have to worry about that anymore. And, you know, that's nice. You'll get a better shave every day if you change your blade once a week. And with Harry's, that's easy. And affordable, too. Harrys. Harrys.com. And don't forget, please use the offer code WINDOWS to take $5 off your first order. Harrys.com. Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley. And we are talking Windows 10, July 29th. Paul says it's okay. Go ahead. Confirm your reservation today.
You're paraphrasing there, but...
Get first in line.
Yeah. Don't be such a wimp. Just do it.
It's funny, Gay Ball says, if you're a Windows Insider, you'll be first in line. But don't we all get it at the same time? I mean, is there...
Yeah, but you know what? Being first in line doesn't help when they're letting people in the front door that aren't in line. You know what I'm saying?
There's no velvet rope, folks.
Yeah.
Just get in there. Do we know? They haven't said really if it'll be staged or anything. I mean, is it all going to happen the same time? Or
We don't know.
I know. I keep asking questions for which there is no
We'll
answer.
just keep saying we don't know.
We don't know. Well, let's move on to Computex, shall we?
Yeah.
Please.
The big Taiwan show. Have you ever gone?
No. Have you?
No.
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 Ryan Shrout goes every year from our This Week in Computer Hardware.
I thought about it.
It looks like fun. And
I wish it was in Iowa
it's in
instead
Taipei.
of Taipei.
Yeah.
But
But I saw Dell some nice new machines. I have the this is my favorite Windows machine right now, the XPS 13. They've done a 15-inch bezel-less. Yep. But as you were saying, Paul, before the show, the only problem with having no bezel is there's nowhere to put that camera. So the camera for your Skype is down here at the bottom.
Listen, there's plenty of bezel on the bottom of that thing. Just add another 1/4 inch at the top and put in a camera. Why do they have to be so cute about it?
Oh, I guess you're right. They could do it that way, huh?
It's so strange.
Yeah. Because the camera looks up your nose a little bit right now.
Yeah, nobody wants to look at my jowls. I just,
I should open Skype. By the way, you probably have it in here.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to update your Skype.
Oh, yeah. We do have it in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Don't open Skype until you've made sure you have the latest version.
Yeah.
Because there's a little something going on. Skype versus Skype Wi-Fi. Oh no, that's the free Wi-Fi stuff. All right.
Yep.
We're never going to get to any of this stuff.
Okay.
I don't know how we're going to do this.
What kind of exclusives will Microsoft offer Windows 10 enterprise users? I don't know. New Windows 10 PCs out at a Computex. What's really new? I don't know. You want to pick some, Paul, that you want to highlight?
No. I this is the thing I was talking about earlier. Honestly, like the XPS 15, beautiful machine. It's a laptop. So there aren't crazy new form factors coming. It's going to be more of the same, evolved, nicer, thinner, lighter, better.
Yeah. Okay.
Windows Hello cameras on some, Windows Hello fingerprints.
Oh yeah, we talked about this before. Is there enough difference in the Windows 8 machines or Windows 10 machines you really want to get a Windows 10 machine? No.
No, I think the basic advice that always remains, which is if you need it, buy it. If you don't worry about it.
You need it, buy it.
Yeah.
Here's what you can expect from new Windows 10 PCs. What? They look nice. I like that Acer all-in-one. That's pretty.
I like that weird plug one. Quanta computer.
Yeah,
plug.
it's down there. That's true.
It fits in a plug?
Yeah, you'll see a picture of it.
This red one is an HP. Is that a stream? Is there an updated stream?
There it is.
What? It looks like a USB
it's like the Intel
dongle.
compute stick. Sure.
That's a computer?
Sure.
What do you mean sure? What do you mean sure?
A Raspberry Pi 3 is a computer. An Intel compute stick is a computer.
So this is running. What is this running?
Windows 10.
This is the okay, and it's called the Quanta Compute Plug.
Sure.
What would it be suitable for? I see it has an HDMI port, two USB 3 ports. It's plugged into the wall, so it doesn't need a power supply. It is the power supply.
Yeah.
Yep. It is right.
It's probably cheap, right?
You could also probably use it to charge an iPhone, so it's not completely worthless.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
But I mean, seriously, could I run a web server on it? What am I doing with this?
It's Windows. You can do whatever you want on it.
Whatever
I mean, you can
you
plug
want.
HDMI into a monitor, mouse, and keyboard.
Does it have USB? I mean, Bluetooth?
I do not know, but I bet it does.
Sure, why not? It's free. Raspberry Pi has Bluetooth, doesn't it? Yeah. That's wild. We live in amazing times, Paul.
No, is it?
This is more powerful than the $10,000 DEC computer I had with a Pentium 90 in it.
And yet, we're awfully cynical about it.
I know. You. This is amazing. Do you understand? This is amazing.
I know.
Folks.
Here's the problem, Leo. The longer you've been on the planet, the more cynical you tend to get.
I love this.
Yeah, it's cute.
The Raspberry Pi does not have integrated Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Okay. So I don't know what this has. Who knows? No one knows because Paul just has a picture of it. Is it a gaming PC?
No, we know that. We can say with some certainty. Not a
Probably
gaming PC.
not. Yeah.
Is it ARM or is it it can't be
No,
Intel.
that would be like an Atom type thing.
Oh, it is. It's an Atom. All right. Anything else? There's lots of that's it. It's not, that's it. The quantum compute
I
plug
don't
is
see any
interesting.
point in putting up a bunch of pictures of PCs and talking about specs. It's their PCs. There's no surprises here. I
Paul,
mean,
this is your business. Is doing. What do you sound like you're burnt out now on this stuff?
No, I care about Windows. I don't. This stuff to me is like whatever.
These are commoditized products, huh?
Yeah.
Here's how they describe it. Compute plug is a mini PC power adapter, can be plugged into any outlet and connected to a TV to turn it into a smart computer that can be controlled using Cortana, Bluetooth, remote headset.
Bluetooth works.
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth works.
Yep.
Go.
Bluetooth. It's in there.
Wow.
Makes a Roku look like the piece of junk that it is.
Wow.
At Computex, what Microsoft did was they got up on stage, they showed a whole ton of new form factors and said, you know what, all these are going to run Windows 10, and there's going to be even more.
Right.
I think they said something like there'll be 300 devices running Windows 10 right out of the gate or something.
Wow.
So they're ready this time with some new PCs.
Well, but that's the point. There
where's the
isn't
Surface
any
Pro 4?
shocking new hardware necessity.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Where is the Surface Pro 4?
We don't know about the Surface Pro 4.
They didn't announce it at Computex. That's all we know.
Right.
Nor was it expected to be.
Right.
No.
Right.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
But, like Paul's saying, right now they're just like, more 2-in-1s, more this, more that. We're waiting to see something really crazy, new, different. That's something that you say, okay, that's a really different new Windows 10 PC, or at least the Surface Pro 4, and we haven't seen those yet.
Haven't seen that. Nope.
Or the next Microsoft Band, by the way, which we don't know if it will run Windows 10. Maybe someday the Microsoft Band will run a version of Windows 10, but right now it's just running firmware. And we don't know if that will change.
It's just running firmware.
Band 2.
It's Linux for all we know.
It's just running firmware.
It's not like Windows 10 Embedded or Windows 10 IoT. Right now, the Band does not run Windows.
Yep.
Basically.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yep. So lots of new stuff.
It is. It's fairly telling that there's so much going on this week that one of the things we should skip over is the new build that was released last week because
Friday.
it's really not that interesting.
I think that's the one though that clobbered my VMs. I don't know.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
So,
But let's not worry about that one. Instead, I think Mary Jo, maybe you could talk a bit about pricing because I think that's going to be important to people.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
OEM pricing.
Both.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Okay.
So originally, Microsoft was not going to talk about Windows 10 pricing this week. That was not the game plan. Then Newegg accidentally posted some pricing that turned out to be the pricing for the OEM versions of Windows 10, we think.
But that's the problem. A lot of times retailers put dummy pages up.
I know. Right.
So
and
I
I
wasn't
wondered
willing
about
to really assume anything from that post.
Me neither. I wasn't either.
Okay, but one thing though, I will say this. I actually, now that we know the retail pricing for Windows 10,
Yeah.
I think the pricing for OEM is going to be basically what they say. It's
so
$10 off
let's see what
Windows
they
8 one
say.
OEM pricing. I think it's.
It is?
I think
Okay.
it's about right. Yeah.
So yeah, what Newegg said was Windows 10 Home for OEMs and systems builders would be 110, and Windows 10 Pro 150 per copy. Then Microsoft changed their minds, I guess, and decided that they would tell us the retail pricing for Windows 10 Home and Windows 10 Pro for fully packaged product, as they call that. So Windows 10 Home and Pro will be priced exactly like what they were priced with Windows 8 1, which is $119 for Home and $199 per copy for Pro. So these fully packaged product are for people who can't qualify for that first year free deal, among others. Some people want the fully packaged product because they want to be able to install the operating system on multiple machines, which I don't think you're legally supposed to do, but
Not at the same time.
I'm not clear. Right, not at the same time, but you can do it.
Yep.
But with the Windows 10 free first year deal, you're going to be able to reinstall Windows 10 on the same machine, but not install that exact same copy on multiple machines. So the pricing is the same for the fully packaged product. It's $119 for Home and $199 for Pro, and that is verified by Microsoft. They did give us those prices. The Newegg prices for system builders, we don't know if that's correct. And the other interesting thing was Newegg said system builders would not get that until August 31st. So that's a whole different date than the July 29th
That's a
thing.
lot later.
Oh, that's new. That's interesting.
That's a month later.
Yep. We didn't know,
Yeah.
but we don't know if that's correct or if that, again, was a placeholder.
That
I'm sorry.
that
You're
page
talking
is
about the
still
new.
up,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
The
That's
new
what-
age.
I think that actually. I'm sorry. I think that date is a placeholder. Yeah.
But
I
that,
think the whole thing's a placeholder.
they left the page up, right?
Yeah, they
No,
did.
I think it's real. I mean, they're obviously going to sell this thing, and they can change the price and the availability.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's,
Right, they could.
it's,
You can order
it's
it and
something
then
that's
they'll
going to happen.
ship it to
Yeah.
you when
They'll
it's
adjust the price if
available.
they have to.
Yeah.
And the date, when it went up at first, we didn't have a date. So and the date was right. So yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't know.
Another one.
I mean-
we don't know.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I remember Ed Bott, said, "Oh, this is how now we know." And I thought, well, Ed, but we've seen this happen before, where it's just bogus. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just
It's
a
hard to
placeholder.
know.
But I think look, they're going to sell this thing. It's going to be roughly that price. It's going to come out sometime in summer.
Yep.
There you have it.
There you have it. Yeah.
Don't let me slow you down if you know what you
Yeah,
want
we're
to
just-
talk about.
You know what? I think
I've lost my
I think
way,
we're
to be
done
honest.
with Windows 10.
Done.
What do you think?
Done.
I think we've said
So-
enough about Windows 10
For today, yes.
for today.
You think an hour and 45 minutes is enough?
I think it's enough. But we have a couple other stories we should mention.
I am really pleased that Microsoft has now bought every gosh darn iOS app I use, including Wunderlist. Wunderlist.
From six Wunderkinder.
The sex
I don't
Wunderkinder.
understand this purchase at all. Can I be
Well, they
cynical for a
bought
moment?
they bought a Comply and they got an iOS email.
Okay,
and
first of
calendar
all,
app.
they bought a Comply, and what they got was a mobile version of Outlook that runs on iOS and Android. Huge.
Huge. They bought Sunrise, ditto calendar.
Calendar, I don't know about that one. We don't know how much they spent on Sunrise.
By the way, a Comply has a calendar in it, so maybe they didn't
Yep.
really need that.
But seriously, a to-do app? I
Well,
mean, seriously.
I use it. It's, by the way, it's
No,
the
no,
ultimate
I'm not-
cross-platform to-do app. It works on everything. That's why I use it.
But they have this functionality in Outlook. They have it in OneNote. They have. I mean,
And OneNote's
don't
overkill
understand.
for to-do, though.
It is.
okay, but the person who wrote the blog post announcing they bought it was from what group, Mary Jo?
OneNote. Yes, from OneNote. Which makes you wonder, what are they going to do with it, right? What are they going to do with
That's-
Wunderlist? Are they going to make it a subset of Outlook? Are they going to keep it separate and
Speaking-
take the to-do functionality out of
I
OneNote?
think this is
Sorry,
an
I said One-
acknowledgement that everybody does everything in mobile, and in some cases, mobile first.
Yeah.
So
But
you know
OneNote
what? I
runs
don't
on
want
every
to run.
mobile.
Yeah, I don't want to
I
run
hear what you're
OneNote
saying.
for my to-do list.
Yeah, I do too.
OneNote's on Apple Watch. It's on Android Wear.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
You know why I think they
there's
bought
going to be a backlash to this. I think Microsoft's going to have 127 mobile apps, all of which do one thing, and it's just going to be, we're going to spend the rest of our lives documenting every stupid minor update to every stupid mobile app. And I just don't understand the strategy here.
Well, so I think one reason Microsoft bought them was because they wanted, well, first they want to spend overseas cash. These guys are based in Berlin. Second, they wanted to get into a foothold into the Berlin startup scene, which is quite active, right? And they didn't really have any presence there to speak of. So I think they've got that now. But yeah, to your point.
And Satya Nadella wanted to be able to say, Ich bin ein Berliner.
Exactly.
Yep.
And now he can. So, yeah.
I mean, I have used every to-do lists app there is, and I ended up with Wunderlist because there's even a Chrome extension for it. There, you know, when I hit tab in my Chrome on any platform, including my Chromebook, there's my to-do list. It works, yes, it works on the watches in a better way than Outlook. I mean, if you wanted to use Outlook as a to-do list, having the fact that you could do it on your watch, but it's not, it's a OneNote, you just want the to-do list.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is it wouldn't be hard for Microsoft to put a to-do list and watch that.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
no, they're buying users. They're not buying the app.
That's what I think. It's brand and users, but
they're buying the brand, the users, maybe the
what's
team.
I mean, how much do they suppose you spend on this thing?
Between $100 and $200 million.
I have a newsflash for developers listening to this show right now. Here's an idea. First of all, stop developing for Windows, obviously. And port your productivity apps to iOS and Android, and then hope Microsoft buys you.
Guess what, Paul? They've known that for a while. The day that Instagram sold for $1 billion, every college kid in the world changed their major to iOS.
Right, but what I'm saying is, for Microsoft-specific people, that's where the action is. I mean,
but I think that
they're
happened.
buying.
I think a lot of kids who are learning, you know, Visual Studio and C# quickly changed their tune.
It just makes me want to cry.
It's the future, Paul.
The future.
I hate the future, Leo.
Well, we know that.
The future.
I like the past.
Right. I was thinking about this today. Microsoft used to have and really bet their whole business on products that did everything. Like SharePoint is a great example, right?
Integration over.
Right. Now,
what do you call it when you have apps that do one thing? What's that called?
Their strategy now is let's get a bunch of apps that do one thing.
What do you call that? It's the opposite of integrated experiences. It's standalone experiences.
It's how computing began. Remember, that's what the benefit of Unix was. A lot of simple applications that did one thing well, sed, awk, and grep, and you would chain them one to the other.
The history of our industry is really a history of I have Lotus 123 over here.
Yeah.
I have WordPerfect out over here. How do I get these things to talk to each other?
Yeah, no, I understand. We solved the problem.
I mean, this can be some future Microsoft regime where they're going to be like, I have an idea.
Yeah.
I have an idea. Why don't we take our email app, right? Work with me on this one.
Chop it up into pieces.
And we'll combine it with the to-do list over here and the calendar list over here, and we'll call it something.
No,
and it will just be like one thing.
That's one of the reasons I always hated Outlook. It put everything in a giant hairball PST file. I always hated Outlook. It tried to do too much. You could make the argument that Microsoft Word became the most bloated piece of software because it had every checkbox on the feature list you could imagine. And all of a sudden, Microsoft says, wait a minute, nobody knows what this thing does. We have to reinvent the UI so that people can find functionality.
Well, you guys know, I am not a fan of OneNote at all because I think it does too much.
Exactly.
And I think it's really confusing.
You think OneNote does too much?
I think OneNote does way too many things. I think
people don't even know that it does to-do lists, I
guys,
betcha.
Notepad.
All right.
Just leaving it there. Okay.
You'll both betrayed me today.
Paul, you sound like the guy, Dvorak, who said, I don't want to do this cloud thing. It's back to the old days of client-server computing. I don't like it. I don't want to do cloud. We are, in a way, coming back to the way it used to be with cloud, aren't we? This is more of the same.
Yeah.
It turns out Unix had everything right. We've had a horrible 3 decades.
Leo, I got to go do a cron job. I'll be right back.
Exactly. Get your command line on. I guarantee you the next version of Windows will be command line based.
Yeah.
There's a I don't want to ruin anything.
Enterprise.
No. You've got something about this.
I'm just saying, Paul, keep the rights to the Delphi 3 Super Bible. It may come back.
I would give anything for Pascal. Like, can you imagine what the world would be like
if everything were
awesome
Pascal.
It would be?
Yeah.
I know. I'd be the happiest. I'd be a different human being.
I can promise you, this Skype messaging flaw, Apple had exactly the same messaging
I think
flaw.
Wasn't Skype written in Pascal for a while?
But I think both of those flaws.
I think Skype until fairly recently were
buffer overflows that would have been eliminated by strong typing.
Eliminated. It would have never have happened.
Right.
Yeah. It would. Right.
Because you can't do a buffer overflow in Pascal. It won't let you. No, I think you. I don't
this world
think you,
stinks.
I don't think. Are you sure you wanted to Malik that? No, I think.
Malik.
Yeah. No Malicking.
You gonna Alec or Malik?
No Malicking. Stern copy. Not in my watch.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry. I've lost my head.
You're killing me.
A little geeky here. So.
All right. Anyway, I'm sure Objective-C has its nuances.
No. We're not going back to Objective-C. I promise you.
All right.
We might be going back to assembly language, though. That would be good.
Jeez. Talk to
There
Steve
you
Gibson.
go.
Actually, the only thing smaller than this Get Windows app would be a Steve Gibson app.
That's right.
You know?
Steve could have written this in 5 bytes, I promise you.
And I bet there would have been a no option, too.
Yeah. Microsoft Wi-Fi. I just saw Skype Wi-Fi, and I was very confused by it. You saw that. It happened live on this show.
Oh, yeah.
Because I saw
Skype
I hit the window
Wi-Fi
key,
is something.
typed Skype, and then I said, "What's Skype? Skype Wi-Fi? What is that?"
Skype Wi-Fi is something that everyone sees by mistake.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
You're in a new place, you're trying to get online, and all of a sudden Skype pops up. Hey, I can help with this. And you're like, I don't use you for this. Go away. What is this? Like, it is kind of a weird thing. Anyway, Mary Jo, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's all right.
So
you need to rant. You have ranted.
They're renaming it, though, right?
They're renaming it, right.
I'm going to grab a copy of my Delphi book and just rock in the corner.
Skype Wi-Fi, you know, it's a service that lets you get on hotspots all over the world, whether you're in restaurants, airports, whatever. And now Microsoft's going to rename this Microsoft Wi-Fi. And
to be clear, I'm sorry to interrupt. To be clear, though, it's not. I suppose it could connect to free Wi-Fi hotspots. It's not like that feature you get in phones. Connect to free spots.
Right. No.
You have credit with Skype.
Right. You use Skype credits. Correct.
You
to
pay.
get on.
It's a pay-as-you-go.
Anybody in the chat room use this?
Does anyone actually use this? I mean, it's amazing how often I see it.
There are people somewhere who use this.
I thought of it briefly.
I think we've all considered it. Nice. I think we've all considered it briefly.
Right.
A reading
but now,
from the chapter T-Object.
There aren't that many of there are, comparatively speaking, not that many hotspots that are Skype Wi-Fi hotspots. But when Microsoft rebrands this to Microsoft Wi-Fi, they are going to expand it substantially. It looks like from the leaked sites that went up. It's going to now be over 10 million Wi-Fi hotspots all over the world. They're going to make it available to Office 365 enterprise subscribers. And it's not clear if that'll be paid or free.
But I take that to mean that the organization could establish a pool and policies for this that, maybe you get a certain amount of money per month you can apply toward these, hotspots or whatever.
And then Microsoft Work and Play bundle will get that, which is the bundle of services. Right now they offer Skype international calling as one of those things in the Work and Play bundle, but it sounds like they're going to add this new Microsoft Wi-Fi. And so the question is, why are they doing the rebranding? I think part of it is, I think the real reason is probably because of the whole One Microsoft push. And we know that they're trying to now use Microsoft as the brand, as we've seen on Surfaces, for example.
Totally agree. And just by the way, the fact that we've all been confused by Skype Wi-Fi, I think also says a lot. If this Microsoft Wi-Fi thing popped up in Windows, I think most of us would say, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yep.
Whereas Skype does it, and you're like, "Oh, what's that?"
Yeah. There'll be apps. There'll be the Android app and the Windows Phone app and Windows apps that'll all let you connect to the new Microsoft Wi-Fi service at some point. So that Microsoft's acknowledging, yes, this is happening. They just said they're not ready to announce it officially, and they aren't giving us any more details yet. But it's coming. There you go.
Yep.
There you have it. Boy,
there'll be prepaid cards as well.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
Yeah. You can give them as gifts, throw them in a Christmas stocking or something.
You know, we were talking about that messaging bug. I thought that was very interesting. Apple still has not, to my knowledge, patched their messaging bug more than a week later.
Microsoft did it really quick.
How quickly did that get patched?
That was
like hours.
24 hours.
Yeah.
Nice job. Same idea, though. You could send over Skype chat a malformed message. It's clear that hackers are looking at overflows in these messages. And by doing so, I think you could make it that Skype couldn't launch at all, right?
Actually, you know, it's funny. We were talking about one of the primary issues of our age was, you know, how do apps communicate with each other? That's also one of the primary ways you attack the system is those places where apps talk to each other or whatever. I mean, it's maybe not that surprising.
You have to sanitize your inputs, and you have to make sure there's no buffer overruns. But they did. They fixed it right away, which doesn't necessarily mean they're better, nicer people. It might be that.
No, it does literally mean that, but go on.
It might mean that it was less tightly integrated into the, you know, for instance, Apple's using core text, which is a fundamental kind of object. It's like a T object, Paul, to put it in terms you might understand.
I do now understand what you're saying. Although T object is literally the fundamental object.
It is the object. That's what T stands
for.
The
object, as it were.
But because it's core text, it might be that that's more than just patching, you know, a little bit of this or a little bit of that.
I don't think we need to give Apple an out. Microsoft did it quick, and Apple didn't.
Yeah, I like it. I know. Apple's we're still waiting. And the problem is these are really nasty little pranky kind of things. All it takes is cut and paste.
Sure. Explains why so many people have tried to friend me this week on Skype. It's like, Apple lover would like to friend you.
By the way, didn't affect Macintosh Skype, just Windows and Android and iOS. I think iOS Skype was affected.
Oh, was it?
I can't remember anyway. It doesn't matter. It's fixed.
Not surprisingly, there are a bunch of new Skype versions released this week.
Yeah, update your Skype. Now's the time.
Get updated.
Microsoft is going to hike by 13% its user client access license prices as of August 1st. Thanks for that story. Microsoft.
I think we could do that for all four of the remaining stories.
Mary Jo, I'll give Mary Jo a chance to say.
That's all I'll say about that. So Microsoft hasn't publicly said this yet, but if you are somebody who uses user CALs, which are licenses for a lot of Microsoft's enterprise products like Lync and Project Server and System Center and Windows Server, you should know that the prices of these are about to go up by 13%, which is a pretty hefty price hike. So if you can renew now before August 1st, you might want to look into doing that. That's it. That's all I'm going to say on that. The end.
The end. Don't forget about Games for Gold. What's new? Paul Thurrott in our Games for Gold. Paul Thurrott has the story. Xbox, Paul. I'm talking Xbox.
No, I know. There are some new games, as you would imagine. Actually, I think the bigger deal this week, this month, isn't so much the free stuff, although that's important. This is kind of a reminder. I don't talk about this as much, but there's a Deals for Gold program as well, where people who are on Xbox Live Gold get to buy certain games for often steep price reductions. And a bunch of the Call of Duty games are available. And that's kind of a big deal for me because I bring the console around to play Call of Duty up the street with some guys, and I hate, you know, it's always like one of the discs is scratched, and how do you do this? My son has his console, and we only have one disc, and so a bunch of these Call of Duty games are all like half price right now. So I actually just bought a bunch of them again, but in digital form, so now they can sit on the hard drive, and I don't have to worry about discs. So you should check out both. Make sure you look at Games for Gold as well as
I do. Every month I go, what do I get today?
Deals for Gold is more frequent. I don't know if it's every 2 weeks or I think it's more than once a month.
So I bought Master Chief Collection, but I did not include Halo 3 ODST. Is that right?
Well,
I thought it was everything.
It was all of the Master Chief games. So Halo 3 ODST came out between Halo 3 and Halo 4. It was a side story to Halo 3. Does not involve Master Chief, so they didn't put it in the collection. But now they've remastered that for Xbox One. They've made it part of the collection for people who bought it before Christmas, basically. I think the date was December 26th or something of last year. If you bought it before that time, you'll get it for free. You'll get a code in your Xbox messages. You can enter the code to redeem it. You'll download that and have it. If you bought a Halo Master Chief Collection after that date, you can buy it through the store for $5.
Got it.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
By the way.
Well, you should have everything.
Yeah.
That's why God made Halo.
So next, this coming Christmas or holiday season, we're going to be able to go through this with Gears of War. There's going to be a Gears of War.
Oh, really?
Yep. I can't wait for them to do.
Did they ever? They never released Gears of War for the one, did they? That's right.
No. So this is we'll be able to get all. I
classic
think it's
Xbox
4 games basically. Yeah.
It's a great game. Yeah, but wait a minute. Come on, really? Now that you have Call of Duty, you don't care about Gears of War anymore, do you?
There are certain games. Halo falls in this category, and Gears of War falls in this category, where I just like the single player games. Like I'll play through them. They're good.
I think of it as Call of Duty Brown.
I think of it as Call of Duty with men wearing giant diapers and they can't jump or go onto the second floor of a building.
You mean you can't climb that wall?
They just run around and they just run around on the ground.
I can have to stay on the ground.
It's good though. It's graphically good. I don't like them. I'm not a big fan of the multiplayer. But that's what it looks like to me. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Did we get chat room? Did we get everything you care about deeply answered in the extended segment?
Or not answered
on the Windows 10 update button?
Is there any? I think the question is there anything else we can't answer for you?
Exactly.
There you go. There you have it. Somebody says the Windows 10 discussion, 2 hours, must stop watching. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I realize I just lost 2 hours of my life that I'll never get back, says Tech Potato.
Listen, nothing would make me happier than to wake up tomorrow to a 25,000-word Microsoft post that explains every single question we have and completely obviates the conversation we just had.
Please,
I would be so
Microsoft,
happy.
please.
So happy.
Please. We still don't know when 10 will hit the phone. That's one of the questions.
Nope.
But they said shortly thereafter, implying you said a few weeks.
Later this year.
It will be this year, I think.
This year? Oh, okay.
That's all we know.
This year.
I would expect that all the Windows 10 variants that we know about, HoloLens, Surface Hub, Xbox maybe in preview, Windows Phone, I think they happen this calendar year in some capacity. IoT, I do think it's going to be this year. I don't think it's going to be August 15th or something. I think it's going to be a little later than that.
Battlecam says, please ask Paul about Windows 10 clean install. I saw something saying you have to upgrade, then install from scratch. How do you do a clean install?
No, we don't know that. So we don't know. Microsoft has told me that there will be a product key that gets associated with your account and your computer so that you can later do a clean install. They have verified twice that they will support a clean install. What they haven't said is we're going to let you download an ISO like they do for Windows 8.1. My expectation is that is in fact how that works. When that happens, if it's going to be July 29th or later, I don't know.
If we kind of skirted the who gets what discussion, but this is a legit question. If you have Windows 7 Starter Edition, what do you get?
Yep. Windows 10 Home.
Home. So really there's only Home and Pro.
For the free upgraders.
For the free upgraders. And so everybody will get Home who doesn't own Windows 8, 7 Pro.
Or Ultimate.
Or
Ultimate goes to Pro, okay. Anything, you know what you get. Come on, knock it off.
I think most of that's pretty straightforward. I don't think it's going to surprise.
But the starter
Windows 8
the starter was like the netbook version.
Yeah, well, Windows 8.1 with Bing is that version today in some ways.
Right.
But you get Home, which is nice.
Get Home.
There's no Windows 10 with Bing.
There is.
Well, Windows. Well, actually, you know what though? I'm not 100% sure that's true.
Really?
I think that's
I think
Intel.
that makes sense for them to have it. Why not?
Because
it's not an end user SKU. It's an OEM SKU, right? And the reason they made it available was to make it so that people who aren't getting Windows 10 for free as OEMs will still be able to get it very cheaply, right? So
I mean, rather than inventing a completely new version of Windows, all they have to do is just give them that license for free. Is this too simple?
But
I don't know. I don't understand. Okay. It's dumb enough that it makes sense. I hear you.
Right. We saw a reference today in an Intel roadmap saying there is a Windows 10 with Bing SKU, but Microsoft has not said that exists.
Right. I think there's a 50% chance that's projection on it.
Oh, and by the way, I saw this question too, and I finally got the answer to this today. If you are one of those people who are running those K or N versions of Windows 8, which were required because of antitrust actions in various countries. Yes, there will be Windows 10 K and KN.
Well, are you sure there will be K versions and N versions? You sure?
Yes. Yep. I asked today.
I thought it was
yes.
I thought they were just going to get the standard version of whatever was the equivalent. No,
I found out today.
Why would they make special versions for this case?
Because they have to legally.
But they don't have to anymore. That's the thing. It's
I think
expired.
they do in Korea and a couple other countries, and that's what those are.
Wow.
Yep. Sorry, guys.
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to get Windows Media
Most people will never see those. Most people will never see those unless you're in country.
They didn't sell well in Europe, that's for sure. I know they were basically.
KN, yeah.
All right. Is there a version of Windows Home Pro? NT swears in the chat room. I have Windows Home Pro.
No, he has Windows Home Premium.
Yeah, Premium.
Windows 7 Home.
What does that turn into?
Home, I believe. Is
home. If it's got if the word home is in it, you get home. If the word pro is in it, you get pro.
So the in Windows 7, there's Starter, Home Basic, and Home Premium. This is the one where they went nuts. Professional, Ultimate, Enterprise.
That's so sad.
Yep.
It's so sad. All right, now, does it matter? By the way, is there a big difference between Home and Pro Windows 10?
Yeah. I mean, domain support.
Okay, nobody needs that.
Oh, BitLocker.
You don't get BitLocker in Home. That's too bad because that's nice.
Hyper-V.
Okay, nobody needs that.
The ones I can think of off the top of my head that are important. There's also, there's the
Matrix yet with all the features.
So we don't know exactly yet.
There may be more features that are different between the two, but we don't know.
Yeah,
that's another.
Right. I mean, those are the big ones that I can think of.
We don't know. We don't know what we don't know.
Guys.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. Then the back of the book.
Yep.
Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley. I'm Fred Barnes. And this is the show where we talk so much about Windows that perhaps you thought, I would like to learn more about Office, Excel. I don't know.
Please.
Do they have? I wonder if Linda has a Windows 10 course. I bet they're working on it right now. Nope, just Windows 8.1. But they're going to have a Windows 10 course before the Windows 10 comes out. That's how Linda works. Linda's amazing. I think the human being is a learning machine, and I think Linda is the fountain of youth for the human brain. You love to learn. I know you do. And lynda.com is for you. It's for problem solvers, for the curious, for people who want to make things happen. Maybe you want to develop an app. I don't know. A lot of people do. Developer training at lynda.com is amazing. Whether you're completely a novice or you know everything there is to know, 106 courses on programming languages alone, 134 on web development, 58 on mobile apps. There's a total of 3,000 courses on lynda.com. Courses that are done beautifully. They're designed to be easy to ingest, not just on your desktop, but on your tablet or on your phone. The written transcripts mean you can immediately surf to the part of the course that you want. Click right there. They've got business courses, too, taking, Master Excel, or hobby courses like taking better photos, sharpening your photo. I wonder, it'd be kind of fun. I bet they don't have any Delphi courses. Wouldn't that be funny, Paul, if they did?
That would be awesome, is what that would be.
Yeah, no. They probably retired those. I'm sure they did. What they do have is great business courses, fantastic business courses, including Advanced Microsoft Project, FileMaker Pro 14 Essential Training, the Foundations of Business Analytics. That would be a great way to get a great job, wouldn't it? Operations Management Fundamentals. There's even a course on asking for a raise. I want to take that course. Asking for a raise. lynda.com. Actually, I do the photography courses because that's my favorite hobby, and they've got Burt Monroy. They've got some of the best photographers in the world. One of the things that's really cool about lynda.com is the teachers, like this guy here, Ben Long, who's been on our shows many times, is a good friend of mine. They know their stuff. They know what they're doing, but they're also great teachers. It's a very nice combination. If you're interested, here's what I would suggest. Go to lynda.com/windows. We're going to give you 10 days to watch anything you want. 3,000 courses. You could probably take more than a few in 10 days if you're really ambitious. Whether you're learning to become an expert, you're passionate about a hobby, or you just want to learn something new, visit Lynda, lynda.com/windows. Sign up for your free 10-day trial. Just, it's food for your brain. Lynda, lynda.com/windows. Try it today. I think you're going to love it. Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley. It's time for the part we love the most. At least I do. I call it the back of the book. It's the fun stuff, the tidbits, the cool stuff, the tips, the beer, you know. Paul's got a little tip for us. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, after I previously told everyone to stop learning how to develop for Windows, I will now recommend an incredible and lengthy series of videos that will teach you how to learn to develop for Windows 10.
Neat.
And it's hosted by Andy Wigley, who was one half of that Jumpstart team that did similar video series, I think going back to Windows Phone 8, if not earlier. And also for Windows 8 and 8.1, and then Jerry Nixon, both of whom are developer evangelists for Microsoft. And it is a really comprehensive series, as these things always are. It was originally delivered live over 3 days, about 2 weeks ago. And now you can just download the videos from, actually, it's not Channel 9, it's from
Microsoft Virtual Academy.
Yeah, Virtual Academy.
So this was be for somebody who is a developer, obviously.
Yeah, in other words, you're a developer and you want to learn how to develop for Windows 10 specifically now. What's new?
Windows 10,
yeah, all the new stuff. Awesome. Really, really nice.
Nicely done. Microsoft's smart to give these things away. That's great.
Yep.
And do you have a little software thing you like?
I do, and this one's going to be a little strange for people, so you might want to sit down and maybe take a stiff drink. But so my software pick this week is Google Photos, which you may note is not available in native form. Actually, it is on Windows, I should say, but not on Windows
on the
phone,
web. So. It's not on Windows Phone, yeah.
No, there's a Windows application, and this is the reason I'm recommending it. I thought that Google Photos got an outsized amount of attention from Google I/O, given the amazing platform stuff that they were talking about for Android and everything. And I had put it aside as something to write about, and days went by, and I sort of, the more I thought about it, the less interesting it seemed to me. But then I finally decided to look at it a little more deeply. And as it turns out, in addition to doing all of those things you would expect on mobile devices, you can get OneDrive or Dropbox or the built-in stuff that each of the platform makers has to back up your photos automatically from the phone, which is great and a very useful capability. But they also have a Windows application. And the Windows application is just a utility that sits in the tray, and you point it at whatever folders have your photos, and it will monitor those folders, and it will sync them up to the cloud. And when you combine that with the fact that they're basically offering unlimited storage for people that don't mind there being a limit to the quality of the photos, that limit being 14 megapixels, right? And then 1080p video. And so if you have video or photos that are above those limits, they'll be scaled down to match that limit, which for me is actually not a problem. I think photos are one of those things where I think it's important to have multiple places where they are, in case something happens. Having one of those places be a place that has unlimited storage is fantastic and is free, fantastic. The only thing that's missing for potential listeners here is the fact that on your Windows Phone handset, there is no way to configure this to work. You need a Windows desktop PC. So you would have to sync your stuff down to the PC. But the thing that's most... I still think it's worth the effort, by the way. You can still, because I think most of us do that anyway in some capacity, for the important photos, certainly. But I was able to point this thing at my file share on my home network, and it's still doing it. It's uploading the photos. It's going to take a while because there's, lots and lots of them. But when you go to the site is the other part of this thing that I think is really impressive. And there are different ways that you can look at your collection. You can look at... well, they have collections, and they have albums, and they have all that kind of junk. But if you look at your photos, you can look for, it organizes them by people, by location. It obviously does the awesome search stuff. It organizes them by things that are found in the photos. So Mary Jo and I both would have there's one called beer, because I took a lot of pictures of beer for some reason. And there's a whole beer collection in there. I find their ability to organize
wine.
photos. Yeah.
I searched for beer and I got olive oil and wine. I don't have any beer.
I find it amazing how good the organization is.
Look at this. I searched for wine. Look at this. It's so I take, if I like a bottle of wine, I take a picture of the label. Yep. Thank you, Paul.
As one would.
I love this.
No, it's amazing. I thought nothing of this when it was announced. I was confused why people were so excited about it.
Yeah.
And then when I started using it, I thought, wait a minute, this is actually something really impressive.
It even finds wine. These are wine bottles in these pictures. It even found that. I mean, this thing is amazing.
As I clicked on my face as one of the people to see what pictures came up. Yeah. And as you might expect, a bunch of them are recent stuff. But a bunch of them are from 30 years ago or from when I was a child. I mean, it's
pretty amazing.
There's no other way to say it. It's amazing. It really is amazing.
Yeah. You're not alone. Almost universally, people are hailing this as a huge
I just thought it was goofy and undeserved, and then as I looked at it, it's like, actually, wow. I mean, one of my things is cats.
Yeah.
So I have pictures of my cats. But as it turns out, as we travel around the world, be a cat in a window, cat on the street, the pictures that those cats in a dryer.
There is one funny thing on my cat's pictures, if I could find it here. Michael was sitting wrapped in a fur blanket, and apparently they think that's a cat too.
But nice.
Yeah, that's nice. You know what? I might make that mistake.
I just think this thing is
it's pretty amazing. It
is pretty amazing. It really is.
16 megapixels is the limit. I think they do some 16. I think they do some compression, even if it's less than that. But it's pretty good. Again, I don't notice any.
I think most of us have some solution for backup. What I'm saying is,
you should save your originals anyway.
This is free.
Right.
Just run the utility in the tray, point it at all your photos, let it get them all up there, and then as you import new photos, just let it do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And you may still use OneDrive. It doesn't preclude that.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't. Yep. And I do that. On let's see. I guess on Android phones, on all of my phones, I configure OneDrive to do the photo backup.
Me too.
But I also leave whatever's on there. So on an Android one, it's this, and it's still there. It's fine. They don't hurt each other or whatever.
This is hysterical. So in my cat's pictures, there are a lot of cats. There's also a woman named Cat Schwartz.
That's awesome. Well, it is. By the way, it did say cats. It's a cat.
It's not wrong.
So.
Yeah, it's just for the categorization. I presume they do this on Windows. I think I do. They have an uploader, and
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I uploaded almost 60,000 photos. Every photo I have.
And I should add. I'm sorry. When I did look at it during the keynote, and I looked at it on the web. And there's a way on the web to upload photos. I mean, it's fine,
individual
whatever,
photos, right?
I'm not going to upload, 25 years of photos that way. Yeah. It's stupid. But they actually have this Windows application you can install, and it just does it in the background. Yep. And it will. And I was impressed because a lot of utilities won't do this. I pointed it at this thing's on the network. It's not on my PC here. Doesn't care. No problem.
Yep.
So it's uploading my entire photo collection.
Yeah. Every picture I've ever taken, or at least saved on my hard drive, is uploading.
That's pretty good.
And then it does the automatic kind of fancify pictures and things that.
Yep. I haven't even gotten to that yet, but I'm just what I've seen so far. It's like there's no way I'm not doing this.
If you look at the bottom, they have a creations tab. You can see their latest creations based on pictures that you've uploaded, and some of them are from old pictures. So they're doing animations. They do panoramas. They do. I mean,
if you do type of thing where you take a burst shot and there's a bunch of shots in a row.
That's what this is.
They'll make an
animated GIF out of it. Yeah, they do panos. They do kind of collages. Mm-hmm. This is a picture.
You can you can click on a link and just see every video you've taken.
Yeah,
right. I mean, itself is pretty cool.
Yeah, I found a pic. Already there's been huge benefits to me. I found a video I took in 2001 of my son reading for the first time when he was 6.
Yeah.
I remember, I knew I had it, but I didn't know where it was. So
that's actually the thing that's coolest about it. This morning when I woke up, and this is the second day in a row I've done this, I see the thing down in the tray, and so I click on it, and it's at some number of backing up. So you can choose view uploaded photos. And what is there at the top is whatever it just uploaded.
Yeah.
So you start there, and so in this case, I look, looking at it right now, it is. Whoops, I just clicked the wrong thing. Sorry. Pictures of my kids in Washington D.C. in 2008.
Yeah.
So it's from some time ago. They're tiny. They're like little kids, and you find you lose yourself in it. You just start clicking through the photos. You're like, oh, look at that! Like completely forgot. Oh yeah. Like it really is. It's astonishing.
And I never got around to going. I take so many pictures. I don't ever get around to going through them all.
Yeah.
So the fact that
I could make a photo album of just my daughter making funny faces. There are a million of them.
Here's a fun animated GIF it made. This is this is the dryer.
Nice.
I don't know why.
Hopefully
I did a
not
burst.
with a cat in it.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Oh, go. God, no. No, it's not a cat.
It wasn't in the cat folder, was it?
No. Pretty incredible. I think I'm pretty sure it does go through raw images. I have a ton of raw images on my hard drive. And for instance, this I never converted to a JPEG. Not only did it find all the raw images, it turned it into an animated GIF. It won't save if you save raw images, and there is a checkbox to do that.
Yeah, what are we looking here? What is that?
That is a group called Flaming Lips, Wayne Coyne performing with a baby doll synthesizer in his arms.
That's nice.
You had to be there. So
it made sense at the time.
If you copy anything bigger than 16 megapixels or raw, it will save it if you say to, but it counts against your total storage. But you know what? I have more than a terabyte, so I don't mind that.
Right.
This is awesome.
It really is. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, Mary Jo Foley, enough singing the praises of Google. Give us some enterprise good news.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm actually going to talk about Linux in the enterprise pick.
Ooh.
The enterprise pick is SSH.
Yeah, this is so
Secure
exciting.
Shell.
Yeah. This is from the PowerShell.
Also, some people call it Secure Socket Shell, right? So Secure Shell is a Unix-based command line interface that many people in Linux use for getting access to remote computers. Microsoft, believe it or not, is going to be integrating support for OpenSSH into Windows and PowerShell. We don't know exactly when this is going to happen. We just know they're in the early planning phases. They wrote a blog post about it this week, but it is coming. And I thought this was really interesting in the blog post. They said this is actually the third time that the PowerShell team has attempted to support SSH. And then they say, given our changes in leadership and culture, we decide to give this another try.
I read between the lines on that one.
I thought that was an odd thing to include.
I
did too. But they've been fighting this fight. Steve Ballmer said, not on my watch.
Yeah.
But people who use Windows, and many of us need SSH, will have to install Cygwin, a third-party program.
Third-party, right?
And it's a pain in the butt. Putty, I use Putty.
Yep.
To put this into Windows, hallelujah.
Yep.
Macintosh has had it since forever. So it's just a huge, important thing. You've got to have this if you're a real operating system, I think.
Good to see it. Good to see it coming. I mean, I wonder if it's next version of Windows Server which would be by early next year.
Well, they say it's in PowerShell, right? So what does that mean?
OpenSSH for Windows and PowerShell. So I think it's building this into Windows.
Right.
I'll give you an example. When I log into my web server, I usually do it via SSH. And it's the easiest way to do it. When I transfer files, I use Secure FTP, which is essentially a form of SSH or SCP. Is what I use. It just seems like that's what you need to have. I'm thrilled, and it is shocking, frankly, that they were allowed to post that blog post and basically implicate Steve Ballmer and possibly even Bill Gates.
I am blown away by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very telling and interesting line to throw in there.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
that's
like
the pick. So
he's like saying
soon.
our long national nightmare is over.
Yeah,
kind of.
But they put Linux now. Microsoft has embraced Linux.
They have, and especially because of Azure and running Linux and VMs on Azure, it's time for them to do this.
Yeah.
So,
is it an SSH server as well as an SSH client?
Because of where this blog post was posted, I'm thinking it's server. But I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah. So. I think it makes sense on a command line interface because basically it's command line.
Yeah.
So I could see why they wouldn't feel compelled to put it in Windows Server. Is there a CLI for Windows? I know there is, but I mean, is that commonly used for Windows Server? I don't know. Who knows?
I do not know.
Yeah. Cool.
That's the pick, though.
Good pick.
SSE.
I
Yep.
like it. And your code name? I like your code name, too.
Yeah, codename. I brought this up a show or two ago that there was something codenamed Highlander from Microsoft. And I had it described to me as kind of like Project Server Lite. Now I found out what it is. It's actually one of these new portals that Microsoft is building on top of the Office Graph. You know, they have the Office 365 video portal, and they've got a new knowledge management portal that they're building. Well, there's another portal. It's a planner. So again, we're kind of related to to-do lists, project management. And this thing is going to be called Office 365 Planner, and the code name is Highlander. It's being used inside Microsoft right now among Office 365 users, I've heard. And when I asked for comment about this, Microsoft had nothing more to say. So probably coming pretty soon, I would guess.
Don't they say, what is it they say in Highlander? There can be only one.
There can only be one.
There can be only one.
There can be only one.
And yet there were bunches of Highlanders for some
But one
reason.
at a time.
Yeah.
Yes.
One at a time.
One at a
right,
time.
Because they've used the Highlander code name quite a bit at Microsoft before.
Well, that's true to life.
Yeah.
That's funny. That it can only
So that's
be
what
one.
Highlander is. So that's good. Good to know.
Exciting.
Yeah.
And what do you want for some? Let's have some beer. I think we need some beer.
Let's have some beer.
What do you say?
Yes. My beer pick is a sour. I don't think I've done one recently, or maybe I have.
I don't think so.
It feels like I've been drinking a lot of sours. And this one, Avery Raspberry Sour, is really good. It's not too sour, and it really does smell and taste quite a bit like raspberries, but it kind of does the sweet and sour thing really well. It offsets the sour with the sweet. Avery Brewing is in Colorado. I bet Paul's been there on one of his field trips.
Oh, I was literally just there 2 months ago.
Nice.
Were you really?
Very nice.
They have a brand new facility. It's amazing.
Oh, nice.
That might
Have you
literally
ever
be
had
my
this?
favorite
Paul,
brewer in the
have
world.
you
What's the
ever
name
tried
of it?
this
Sorry.
one?
The raspberry,
Avery Raspberry
sour.
Sour.
I'm not sure I have, but I've had a bunch of sours from that from Avery. But I'm not
really
sure about
good. Very smooth, easy to
Where did you
drink.
have-
It's
where did you find this?
6.5. I had it on tap at Rattle and Hum. I've had it in bottles also. Bottles are available now in various places. So if you see this and you want to try a sour and you're a little scared it might be too sour, I'd say try this raspberry one. It's very nice.
The Avery that you see very commonly is called White Rascal. It's basically a, like a white Belgian white beer. Very kind of coriander, whatever. But it's very good.
And then there, Maharaj, if you love double IPAs, you got to have that one because it's such a killer beer. Very strong, very delicious.
You're losing me.
Sorry. Go back to
Killer.
the sour. Back to the sour.
Mary Jo Foley and Paul Thurrott are my personal heroes when it comes to Windows. There is no one better. And you probably listen to the show for the very same reason we do it. And we still do it live. And I want to say I apologize. I threw a monkey wrench into everybody saying, we're not doing this live anymore. I pulled a Bill O'Reilly. Actually, it's an inverse Bill O'Reilly. We're not going to do it live.
You weren't at war, but then you said you were?
Yeah. That's it. But we are going to continue live with live production. It's up to each individual host, but most of us are going to continue that way. Chat room is as
we can
is.
turn it off? Screw you guys. Turn it off.
You could. You totally could. I leave it to you guys. It's up to you.
I think live is a key
It's
part
nice.
of it.
Live.
I like it.
Stay with live.
Yeah. And that means we'll be here every Wednesday morning, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1800 UTC. But on demand is always available because I know you got a life, and most people still listen on demand, so that's fine with me.
Do we, though? Do we?
We don't have a life.
I
They might have.
demand. Twit.tv/WW is the website. People are asking about the new website. We are really close. We're moving the certs. The certs I'm going to install the certs as soon as I get off here. The production server is spun up. I think we probably will have a live beta this weekend, and we'll probably go live for real next week. So just keep watching. You'll know. It'd be obvious. But still, twit.tv.ww will work for Windows Weekly. You can also find this show on Xbox Music, wherever you get your podcast, the podcast app on your phone, your tablet. You know, we're everywhere you want to be. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Mary Jo. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Windows Weekly.